Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live, but most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, as Ali B has just done, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the discussion and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please do not swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please do not try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You will be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. If you are in the live stream presently, please share the show on social media, as it obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of having a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. And with that, I'll say a very warm welcome to our first guest. So, how you doing, Ali? Very good to have you here. Currently on mute.
How you doing, mate? Sound okay?
Yeah, you sound perfect. Good to have you here, my friend.
Good stuff. Well, I'll see how long I get allowed to be in here.
Well, the mic's all yours.
You'll need to give me a minute. I was just in the middle of making coffee. I just fired in just before it got live.
No bother. I'll do a few shout-outs. That'll kill time if you want.
Just a minute, mate. I'll be back in a sec.
No problem. I'll do a few shout-outs in the meantime. Obviously, Ali B looks like he was the first one in, keen as ever. Nick, good to have you here, my friend. Thank you for being here, Nick. Let's get back to my webcam. Why not? There we go. The Rig, good to have you here, The Rig. Nice to see you. Early as ever. Make 4, good to see you, my friend. Be sure to share the show. I should mention, my audience is now predominantly, not by a massive margin, but certainly the most people watching this are Australian now. Incredible, but true. Anyway, good to have you here, Mate 4. Saunders, nice to see you, my friend. Good to have you here. Please share the show. Standard Refraction Hyena. Excellent name, good to have you here. M. Scott Veach, good to see you, my friend. Hopefully hear more from you, very interesting character. Lottie Says, other participant, good to have you, Lottie, nice to see you. Please don't swear. Jamie Woodstock, nice to see you, my friend, thanks for being here. Hope you're enjoying these live streams. Seeds of Doubt says, I have learnt so much listening to Globers. It's true. All are welcome here. Any more for any more? Dangerous D, good to have you here, my friend. Thanks for being here. Long time no speak. MRMICHAELMW. Not even going to try and pronounce that, but it's very good to have you in our live stream. Thank you for being here. Please share the show. Lee Hedges. Is it Hedges? Yes, Lee Hedges. Good to have you here. Thanks for being here. Nice to see you. Globe Bullshit. Nice to have you here. Good to see you. Physics Warrior. Another participant. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I think that's pretty much it. So while we're waiting for Ali to get his brew on, I'll go back to the photos. I might as well run through my links, so there's a few more people in the audience now, 45 people watching. So if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these live shows. So toss me a buck or two in there if you are enjoying these streams. But most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, simply mute the page you are currently listening to, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules. Number 1, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin this stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please share the show so we hopefully increase the chances of a more diverse panel. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If we don't hear from Ali in a few minutes' time, you'll hear me again with exactly the same information, or if we get another guest, I'll introduce them.
I'm back again, Nathan. Thanks. Is my sound still okay? Yeah.
Sound is perfect. I'll just transition back so people can actually see the chat and yourself, or your avatar at least. Mike's all yours.
All right, nice one. I just wanted to point out, I'm surprised we haven't had the physicist explain it, but standard refraction is the propagation of light through a vacuum. So it seems we don't live in a vacuum. All light is has non-standard refraction. So I just thought I'd like to point that out. And the values are also very very low. So if anybody wants to debunk that, I don't know why people. It's actually a waste of time saying non-standard refraction. Well, saying refraction, because that's what it basically is. And as we don't live in a vacuum at the moment, so, but anyway.
You also had a point, I don't know if you can just make it now, Ali, regarding what moisture in the air does to refraction.
All right, well, all right, okay, yeah. Well, the moisture in the air, when it actually refracts less when it actually travels through moist air than it does through dry air. It refracts a lot more through dry air rather than so I don't know why. I mean, like, for example, I mean, that equation, there's that many different. Oh, there's Rumpus. There's that many. I'll let you introduce him, Nathan.
Yeah, how you doing, Rumpus? Good to have you.
Hello.
Hello.
I just heard something very, very, very stupid just being said by Ali. I mean, yeah, the first thing that came out of his mouth, something to do with standard refraction only occurs in a vacuum. Did he just say that?
I said that's what standard refraction is. That's the value of 1, right?
You utter moron.
Isn't that the value of 1?
No refraction in a vacuum. None, zero. You idiot.
Exactly, and that's where you start.
That's not standard refraction. Standard refraction is the 7 over 6. You goddamn moron.
That's where you start.
Jesus. Yes, that's not standard
1,
refraction.
Right? Oh, right.
The definition of standard refraction is what happens in the atmosphere, looking horizontally. That's not standard refraction. That only occurs in air. There's no refraction in a vacuum. That's not the same as standard. Zero refraction is not the same as standard refraction.
All right. What's the refractive? All right. What's the refractive index of air?
It's about 1.3, I think, something like that.
No, it's 1.000292.
Right, okay, I couldn't remember some heads. It's not very much in the atmosphere. But the idea that you've got of zero...
Right, so wait a minute, wait a minute. So the standard refraction that we don't have on here is 1 is the value of air propagating through a vacuum, where there is no standard refraction, where there is no refraction.
If you
and
go...
Everything else is compared to... Rumpus, 1 second. Everything else is compared to that. And it's the difference in value from travelling through a vacuum to a medium. Google it. Well, why would you have to Google it? So you came on here calling me a moron.
Yeah, because you said the standard refraction is the same as in... But that does not account for... That does not account for the compression. That I don't know what circumstances that is, but the refraction of air when it's near the surface of the air, that's different, and it changes gradually. And the standard refraction.
Bear with me, guys. I'm just going to make a couple of introductions. So, we've been joined by Arav, first of all. How you doing, Arav? Good to have you.
I'm good. How you doing?
Very well, and we've also been joined by Paul. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, good. Thanks.
Thanks for being here. Nice to see you both.
So you're saying that basically in a vacuum that's like perfect no refraction, but in standard refraction, talking about a standard thing of atmosphere at standard pressure, which would be like standard moisture, standard pressure. So we're talking about no refraction at all in a vacuum. It just, light just propagates perfectly versus standard in the standard bit of atmosphere with standard pressure, standard moisture, standard or whatever.
No. Now you're talking about this. Now you're talking about standard temperature, pressure. The
Okay, Ali.
refractive index of a vacuum.
Ali, can you have a look at the screen that I'm sharing, please?
Yeah, I've got a paper as well.
I'd like you to have a look at the screen that I'm sharing, please.
Yep.
And I'd like you to read out what it says. What does the heading say on this?
Standard refraction.
And what does the sentence say underneath?
The refraction which would occur in standard atmosphere.
There you go. End of question. Standard refraction happens in a standard atmosphere. It doesn't happen in the vacuum of space. Move on to the next topic now, please.
And what's more, if you may recall from my scale diagram of the line of sight that has to occur to go to the Isle of Man, the bending of the light is so slight, you don't need much refraction. Remember, refraction, remember the N value is the ratio of the speed of light in the medium over the speed of light in a vacuum. So you only need a tiny
so slight that with enough altitude and a long enough zoom, you could stand up on a clear day and see your own arse in the telescope. That's how slight it is.
That's correct. Depending on the you could arrange, if the conditions were absolutely perfect, you could arrange the temperature gradient to be absolutely right, and you had a very powerful telescope, you could actually see the back of your own head by looking horizontally from an observer point. Because you could get the
That's if you had a super clear atmosphere.
You'd have to have super clear, it'd have to be uniform around the entire world. So all 25,000 miles of it, you'd have to have one of the most powerful telescopes you could get hold of.
What an absolute crock of crap.
It would have to be completely stationary, uniform, and all around the entire world, but you could, in theory, see the back of your own head.
Total nonsense.
Well, you don't understand the physics then. I'll have to explain it again. You don't understand that I demonstrated the bending of light in my diagrams. And it's
on
just
the presupposition that we live on a ball, for a start. Based on the presupposition that we're on a ball, which I think is nonsense to begin with.
Well, yeah, no. The only thing I've relied on, if you accept the fact that light bends in different mediums, due to, I mean, if I were to put a piece of glass at a particular refractive index, for instance, if I were to put on a ball, as I demonstrated in my previous diagrams, and I put a particular refractive index for a piece of glass sitting on a sphere, it would bend all the way around, and you'd be able to get to the back of the head. So if you imagine the glass layer of a particular thing at your eye level would go all the way around, you could see the back of your head. If you had obviously you need a very powerful telescope as well to enlarge the image. So if you accept that, then it's just a matter of saying, well, okay, we live on a ball, which is obvious to anybody with any sense. Then you can have the two together. But obviously, an atmosphere is not a piece of glass. It's going to change over the 25,000 miles, change in temperature, God knows what. So obviously, that's not going to happen. But in theory, if you could arrange the atmosphere to do that, or replace it with a piece of glass all the way around, you would get that effect.
But isn't there a temptation to torture the math a little bit? Like you have this curve, but this line of light to get around. So aren't you tempted to write in a refractive factor that allows the line of light to bend around this curve? You torture the line a little bit to make it slope a little bit slower with this refractive index thing. Bend up around a curve. I mean, is this really observed? Do we observe light bend away like this? I mean, the only time you really see refraction is in water, and it seems that the light shifts over.
Hold on. What are you saying? We only see refraction in water? What sort of idiocy are you talking? You've seen a mirage.
According to these guys, according to these guys, the entire Isle of Man is a mirage. According to these guys, the entire Isle of Man is being lifted at the far end, a quarter of a mile almost above the curve of the Earth, and the entire thing's a mirage to them. The guys are nuts.
No, you do, I don't know. Nathan, you say you understand things when I tell you them, and then you say things that demonstrate you haven't listened to a word I've said. I mean, this time, did you not accept this issue here, that if I had a ball,
no, I don't accept it.
Here,
you say I don't understand, and then you go on to say you don't accept. No, I don't accept it. That's different to understanding.
You do not accept the refraction in this case here, where I imagine
I don't accept the presupposition that we're on a ball, and therefore there is a necessity. There is a necessity for light to curve around that ball. So no, I don't accept that.
But do you accept this? If I were to imagine a sphere, and I've got my sphere with a little.
So you just started it by saying, if I were to imagine a sphere, well, I don't imagine that I'm standing on a sphere, so I don't accept this as an explanation for things that we can see being bent actually around an imaginary blockage that is not there. I don't accept any of that, Rumpus. No, that's just your myth magic that you use. Notice how we are not now. No, Rumpus. Notice how you are not now evidencing anything in the photograph of the Isle of Man to support your assertion. You're not supporting your assertion with the evidence at all. You're just in the maths straight away. You're immediately into the maths. You're not actually supporting the claim that you're making with the evidence. You're just ignoring the evidence and going straight to the maths. I mean, evidence the looming, then demonstrate with the maths how it works. So far, you've told me it's the Emperor's new clothes. It is looming because it has to be, and I just have to accept it, and I don't.
Do you understand this theory, though? I'm going to tell you, forget it being the Earth. Imagine this is just a ball you could hold in your hand.
I don't accept the theory we're on a ball, so there's no need.
Do you accept that they would behave like this, following Snell's law? Do you accept this is what would happen?
I don't accept the presupposition that the light needs to bend around anything. Your presuppositional idea that we're... Hold on, Rumpus, why have you interrupted me again? You've asked me a question, now I'm answering it. I don't accept the presupposition that we need to bend the light around the ball so that we can see something that we can see. I don't accept any of that. I just think we can see it. Hold on, Rumpus. Hold on. My explanation as a flat earther for that Isle of Man picture, which you refuse to use as evidence ever, is we see it. Hold on, Rumpus. You're so keen to get your verbal diarrhea. You get 20 minutes solid yesterday. I'm going to have a couple of seconds just to say my position. My position is, as a flat earther, we look and we can see it. It's very simple. Your presupposition is that the entire island is being uniformly lifted up above the curve of the Earth, perfectly in proportion, with absolutely no evidence of this occurring whatsoever, and we just have to accept it. And I don't. Doesn't matter how many times you show me the maths.
Okay. If I were to tell you that George Natayuk was looking through a theodolite, exactly horizontal, and he looked at the thing 200 meters away, a target, and then he could show that, in fact, it was 2 inches higher than it should be.
Show it on the Isle of Man. Show it on the picture of the Isle of Man.
Hold on. You've got to say you're denying that bending of light is occurring.
Show us the evidence that the light is being bent in the picture of the Isle of Man. There is evidence of refraction occurring in that image. So...
But no, use it as evidence. Sound of goalposts being shifted here.
Nathan, do you accept?
So we have
not at all. So hold on, Paul, on a flat plane. No. Hold on, Paul. Are you suggesting for 1 second that on a flat plane refraction would cease to occur?
No.
No, not exactly, because here I
not
have
exactly,
a demonstration
or no
that shows it on the
not
flat
exactly?
surface.
Or no?
This is what would happen.
So you do accept that refraction would still occur on a flat plane then, Paul? So it's ludicrous to assume that I wouldn't accept that as well.
Looming still would occur on a flat plane.
So do you want to show some evidence of that, Paul, in the image of the Isle of Man? Do you want to demonstrate how that's actually occurring? In the image.
Now that's a straw man.
No, it's not a straw man. It's not a straw man. I want to see it evidenced in the image. I'm not just going to accept it like the Emperor's new clothes, that it's just there because it has to be.
More problematic you might think.
Emperor's new clothes. It's just looming because we say it's looming. There's no evidence of it looming, but you just tell us it is and then show us the maths. Show us some evidence in the picture. Show us some evidence that the far side of the island is being projected a quarter of a mile above the curve of the Earth before you explain how that occurs. I need to see some evidence that it actually is occurring. You've shown no evidence. You've just told us we can't tell. It's invisible. That's what we got yesterday. Now you're still telling us the maths.
But all we have to go on is this photograph. And a couple of days ago...
Finished your rant yet, Nathan?
No, I haven't.
A couple of days ago,
maybe Jeremy can show me some evidence in the image. Have you got any evidence in the image, Jeremy, of this refraction, this looming?
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's above
no,
horizon.
because
No, you haven't.
Let
I
me-
know you don't. So
Let-
don't assert
Can I give
things
a
that
full
I just have
answer?
to
He's
accept
gonna
based on
make
your
a-
say-so. It's
And-
like the
and-
Emperor's New Clothes.
Okay,
Look,
Nathan.
aren't his clothes beautiful? I've made them
To
from this
get evidence-
invisible cloth. Oh, isn't the curve
Nathan,
beautiful? We're refracting around it really well.
Please-
It's invisible, but it
Please, can
really
I
is there.
answer?
It
Please
has
let
to
me
be.
answer. You
We have
asked me a
refraction to
question.
account
Let
for
me answer
it.
the question. You're just talking over me.
I know I'm going to talk over you indefinitely till you actually show me some evidence
Why?
that this
Well, so
looming
don't
is
ask the
occurring.
question then, if you don't
I'm
want me to
sick of
answer.
seeing maths over and over again. I want to see some evidence of what
Nathan,
you're asserting.
let me
So
try-
far,
let me try
the
and give you some
assertion
sort
is
of-
it is looming. There's no evidence to demonstrate that's the case. Just accept it. Here's the maths for how it
No,
works.
Right.
No,
well,
no,
that
Nathan,
may be-
because
hang
you
on.
won't let people answer. You keep interrupting.
Oh,
Won't
so
let
So show me
people
some
answer.
evidence, Paul. Show me some
Right,
evidence
let-
of this looming
the thing is,
in the
Nathan,
image.
all we
In the image
have,
of the Isle of
only-
Man.
Please let me answer, please.
You're going to show the image.
The only evidence.
You're going to show the
that
image
we
of the
have-
Isle of Man, or you're going to give me a verbal or mathematical description of something
I'm
that
just
you
trying to
accept
answer a
Keep it
question.
that
right.
happens,
Nathan.
and I don't.
I don't think that an image is
Ah.
required with every answer, is it?
It's the actual
Let me
evidence we're
answer the
talking about.
question.
You think this
Please, let me
cartoon's
answer
better?
the fucking question.
Too triggered. Got to boot Gem immediately. He's been here before. You don't
Because you're
swear on this
talking
show.
over constantly. There's no reason to do that.
I do what I like. You guys talk over everybody all day long. When I do it as the host, apparently I've got to stop. No, I'll do what I like. Just because I'm the host doesn't mean I won't get my point in. I am not going to accept that the entire island is being uniformly projected at varying different heights across the entire length to end up being projected perfectly to the degree that we cannot tell the difference between that and a perfect line of sight of it, just because you assert it, just because you have a presupposition that we live on a globe. I'm not going to accept that until you demonstrate
then you're just
some
showing your
actual
ignorance,
evidence that
aren't
that's what's happening.
You're just
Until
showing
you
your
accept that
You're
I
not
won't
willing
accept
to let
it,
us explain.
I'm not going to let
You're
you
just
continue
showing your
showing me
ignorance.
this gish-gash nonsense.
Standing by your
This
own-
evidence
It's an
is
argument
for
for
looming.
ingenuity,
It
Nathan.
shows something looming, but it's a cartoon. Demonstrate it in the photograph,
All you're
then
doing
explain how it
is
works.
An argument for
If there's no
incredulity.
proof in the photograph,
It's a logical
I'm not going to
fallacy.
accept
It's
the
an
example of
argument for
Emperor's New
incredulity,
Clothes just
and
because
it's
you
not
assert it.
worth listening to.
The curve is the Emperor's New Clothes. We can't see it. It's not there. You just assert that
Oh, you
light's
can
bending
see all over
around
the
it.
shop. I can show you loads of examples of it.
This is still not the photo of the Isle of Man.
You don't have to
This
have
is a Google image.
curve
That's a
to
cartoon.
even
So
show
far, we've got 2 fantasists with cartoons up.
No, I've got the picture here.
That's a cartoon.
No, the down here, if you can't see it,
Oh, there we
is the
go.
picture that's the picture that
So bring it up, make it nice and big, and show me some evidence of where it's looming and how you can tell that it's looming using the image.
right. But the wonderful thing about looming and low grade.
Oh, looks like everyone's getting booted. You still there, Paul?
I'm still here.
Right, maybe you can do better. Show me some evidence of this looming.
Right. To be able to show evidence of looming on the Isle of Man, what you would have to do is know the elevations of some features of the Isle of Man. And you would have to measure those elevations on the image that we are seeing. And we would have to compare them with the known elevations. Unless you can give us a better
Have you
image
done that?
of the Isle
Have
of
you
Man,
done that, Paul?
that's not going to happen.
Have you done it?
Okay?
Have you done that, what you've just
Literally,
described? It's a simple
literally.
question,
No,
Paul.
well, I
Have
can't
you
do
done
that on
that?
this image
Have
because it's
you,
nowhere near
have
clear enough, Nathan.
you done that? Have you done it?
No.
Right, so how can you possibly
No.
assert that we certainly have looming if you've not done that?
Right. I can assert that we have looming simply because we see the lighthouse, but we don't see it.
Yeah, I
all.
get it. We
don't
see
see
looming
the-
because we have to.
We
I get
don't
it.
see the cliff under
Yeah,
the
it's looming
lighthouse.
because it has to be, isn't proof, isn't evidence, it's just your assertion.
Okay. How come we can't see all the way down to the bottom of the island, Nathan?
Refraction.
Could you please answer? Could you please answer that?
I just did. Did you not hear me?
Explain. Explain how refraction doesn't allow us to see the bottom of the island.
I think you guys have done a really adequate job of explaining how refraction works. I think everybody watching
No, I
understands
wanna
how
hear it
refraction
from you.
works now.
I want to hear from you what the refraction explanation is.
Simple. The light below the lighthouse is blocking the light above because we have a reflection
Light
of the
doesn't
sea.
block light, Nathan.
We
light
have
doesn't
a
block
reflection blocking our way. So the sea is being reflected up on top of itself, blocking the land. In the same way we see time and time again when you guys call that curvature. The only difference being, in this instance, it's absolutely tiny. In most other instances when you guys call... Oh, right, so I'm not allowed to give an explanation, Paul. I'm not allowed to give an explanation because you don't like it. Not allowed to give this explanation, Paul. Just going to talk over me because you're annoyed that there's an imaginary curve we don't see.
Yes, I am going to talk
imaginary looming that we don't see. Emperor's New Clothes curvature.
Good enough for you, good enough for me. I'll talk over you if I like because you talk over me.
You're not suggesting that we have a slight blockage of the land like we normally have in most flat Earth examples, Paul. What you're suggesting is the entire island is looming a quarter of a mile at one end, 300 feet at the other, and the end result is absolutely indistinguishable from if we had line of sight. That's what you're asserting with absolutely no proof whatsoever. You just assert it and expect the audience to accept it.
Yeah, and you just assert that it's reflected up.
No, I just assert that we can see it. I'll make my assertion really clear for the audience, Paul. We see it because it's there. We see it because it's there. We don't see it because we're having it curve around an imaginary globe. We don't see it because it's refracted up. We don't see it because it's looming. We see it because it's there. It's that simple. I see it because it's there.
I wonder why we can't see the bottom of the island, Nathan.
Yeah, I've just said refraction.
Why can't we see all of the right-hand side?
Just told you. Refraction, simple. Yes. It's blocking part of our view. It's very, very simple. How does
refraction hide it, Nathan?
Just explained. We've had about 1 million explanations for refraction. Now you explain. Now you explain why we can see any of the lighthouse. I've already had your explanation. I don't need it. In fact, the fantasy explanation is it's projected above an imaginary curve that isn't there. And why? Well, because it has to be. Well, what evidence? Well, there isn't any. It's just like if you could see it. Amazing.
Oh, so isn't it amazing that a ferry gets reflected up from somewhere where there wasn't a ferry? Suddenly the reflection contains a ferry right on the water.
You show us an example of that.
Layer that you're
show us an example.
You're claiming.
Show us. Show us and then compare and contrast. Show us and then compare it.
You're claiming.
Show us and then compare it to the Isle of Man. Show us some looming, Paul, and then evidence it in the image.
And you open your eyes, you can see where.
Show us.
Okay. Here's the image. Here's the image right from Anthony's video. Here's the ferry. Are you seeing it? Wonder where that ferry was reflected up from, Nathan.
Looks like it sat on the shoreline. Are you now going to give me a presuppositional argument that that's also looming?
The water that supposedly has been refracted up.
So you're telling me basically that boat that looks like it sat on the horizon exactly how we would expect to see it is actually well behind the horizon because we live on a curved Earth? That's your proof?
I'm asking you, why is that ferry there when this whole region of water here is supposed to be reflected up from somewhere?
It's closer to us.
Gee, did it just decide that it wanted to put a ferry in there?
Are you suggesting that it's further away than the block of land that's behind it?
What? The boat's further away than the block of land behind it?
Try and open your ears, Paul. The boat's closer. Closer than the land. Obviously, we're not looking through land at a boat, are we?
No, we're not looking at through land at a boat.
So you'd accept that it's closer. So is my explanation not satisfactory, Paul? It's closer. That's why we see it.
Obviously, that boat.
It's closer.
That boat is not on the horizon, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Closer than that.
Visually, obviously, on the horizon. About as on the horizon as it could possibly be. You telling me it's behind the curve now? You're now going to give me your fantasy about the boat as well? Tell me your fantasy about this boat, Paul.
Not at all. And I still want to know why we can't see the rest of the island, Nathan.
Refraction. Blocking our view. Simple.
Yeah, explain it. Explain how the refraction does it, Nathan.
I've already done that.
You've asserted that it's refraction.
No, I can evidence it. Would you like me to evidence it? No problem. Give me 30 seconds. I'll bring up the photo and I will evidence it for you now. No problem.
How does it do it, Nathan? I want a diagram showing me how the refraction does it. How does the refraction hide it, Nathan? Okay.
Getting muted continually.
I want to know how the refraction hides it, Nathan, and what conditions would be required to cause that refraction, Nathan. Still waiting.
Hey, I'm bringing up the photo.
Still waiting for an explanation. What?
I'm bringing up the photo.
I hope it's a photo of the Isle of Man.
Yeah, that's precisely what it is. Right, can you see my image, Paul?
It's very small,
Yeah,
but I can see it.
Okie dokie. Okay, Paul. See this line here?
Yes.
Well, this is not the true horizon. Below it, we have a refraction line where we have literally a superior mirage reflecting this part of the ocean above this part of the ocean.
There that is the refraction line.
Because there's a great big band. It's not clear enough on my low-res image, unfortunately.
Evidence that is where the reflection is.
Yes, there's a very distinct line that runs along where the actual horizon would be.
I also see another distinct line below that and another distinct line below that. Which one of those would be this so-called refraction boundary, Nathan?
The one that absolutely coincides. Oh, not allowed to answer. Not allowed to answer. The one that absolutely coincides with the amount of land that's missing and looks like it's an identical reflection of the section of sea below it. I'm not allowed to answer. I'll give you an answer. Bring up the photo. Long pause while I look for the photo. When I'm into my answer, get talked over. So yeah, the one that coincides beautifully. It was demonstrated yesterday's hangout by Anthony Riley, and I agree with him, based on his demonstration using the evidence.
And I saw in yesterday's the amount that he drew below the lighthouse, and it wasn't enough.
Okay, Paul.
The lighthouse
so you do not accept that as an explanation for refraction, then? So you don't accept that explanation. So you don't accept that explanation, Paul.
When you take 75
so you don't accept that explanation.
What do you get when you take 75 away from 213?
So you don't accept that explanation, then, Paul?
No.
Right, I don't accept your explanation that the entire island's a mirage. I don't accept your explanation the entire island's a mirage, Paul. I think that's fantasy.
I get something like 140 odd. So
anyway,
why
I'm going to get continually muted. So we've actually got
below the lighthouse.
We've actually got
and then it wouldn't coincide with that first line, would it, Nathan?
I'm going to get continually muted while I'm trying to give you my answer, Paul.
You're misrepresenting.
Anyway, we've got several new guests, Paul. I don't need to row with you anymore. We've got Ranty, Cat Earth, and I think is that Ali? Is that you, Ali?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, the reason your explanation is terrible, and so is O'Reilly's, is because if you're saying that's a band of refraction at the top, creating a new horizon, then why don't we see this refraction as a boat goes up towards the horizon? Why doesn't the boat get stretched up, like you're saying? Because boats, clearly, there's plenty of, we can show you plenty of pictures of boats on the horizon, boats before the horizon, boats over the horizon, all in the same shot. And they're not being blurred and they're not making it. So you need to now show us some evidence of this happening. So show us some evidence. Prove it to us, Nathan.
Yeah, I just did. I just showed it. I
no,
gave us our evidence. Hold on. I gave you evidence. Oh, I've got 3 words out. 3 words. So I've just shown it you, and Paul doesn't accept it, even though it's visually. Hold on, Alex. Hold on, Paul.
Any evidence that it is a refraction?
So I've just demonstrated refraction in the image,
no, you
and hold on, and you've not accepted it. You, on the other hand, Paul, have shown absolutely zero evidence that the entire island is looming,
okay, so you've moved
and
on
just
from your demonstration.
told the audience to accept it with no evidence.
Like I said, show me a picture of a boat being disturbed like this.
We've seen that plenty of times.
Or a buoy. Show us something. Prove it, Nathan. Instead of telling everyone else, show me, why don't you hold yourself to the same standard? Because it's a ridiculous argument. You've never seen a boat do that on the or as it's going to the horizon, or a buoy or anything, like crossing that refraction line. Can you not understand that, Nathan? Or is that too hard for you? Is it really that hard for you? Yeah, I guess it's too hard for you, isn't it?
Sorry, the postman was at the door.
Yeah,
he can just assert that it's refraction, but show no evidence.
You just assert that it's looming.
Not only that, but he can't actually show any theory behind his assertion either.
So can you show some actual evidence that it's looming? Or is it like the Emperor's New Clothes and we just have to accept it?
The whole island is lifted up.
Any evidence of that,
The only
Paul?
way to show...
Any evidence of that?
Well, I guess the evidence of that, Nathan, would be that we see a lighthouse that, according to pure geometry, we shouldn't be able to see, which kind of says that it must be being lifted up.
So by
Now,
pure
you might
geometry,
say,
what
I
you
can
mean
see
is,
it
by
because you
pure
don't
geometry, Paul,
but you
what you
can't
actually
see
mean,
the
Paul,
rest of the
what you
island,
actually
can you,
mean,
Nathan?
Paul, is the presupposition that you
can't
live on a
see the
ball.
rest of the
By
island,
pure
and you
geometry,
are
Paul
appealing
means
to
by the
something
pure
which you
by the
cannot
presupposition that we
Yeah.
live on a ball. That's what he actually means. By the presupposition that we live on a ball, it must be
No,
looming.
Nathan, it's
Not by
pathetic
pure
because
geometry.
an
The
Emperor's
geometry
New
comes
Clothes,
after
but
the
you can't-
presupposition.
You can't explain what
Yeah, you
we
get
are
angry.
saying.
Go on. You guys get
It's
yourself
not
wound
a
up while I explain to the
presuppositional
audience
argument,
your
Nathan. We are
presuppositional
able
argument.
to determine
A
that it's a ball by other
presuppositional
means,
argument
Nathan.
with absolutely no evidence
Where's your
whatsoever.
Your
Presuppositional that you live on a ball, Alex. You're one of the slower people here. Probably best not to ask too many questions
You've got
today.
zero. You're the Emperor's New Clothes.
No,
You
the
are literally,
curvature.
you know,
No,
you're
Alex. The curvature you keep
Yes.
asking me about.
No,
The
you
1,000-foot
can't
wall.
demonstrate. Do you even understand what we're asking you to demonstrate?
The 1,000-foot
actually-
wall you keep asking me about
No, do you
is the
stop
Emperor's
changing the
New
subject,
Clothes, Alex.
Nathan?
It's the
Stop changing the
1,000-foot
subject.
wall no
Everyone
one
can
can
see you doing
see.
it,
Come on,
Nathan.
Nathan.
It's the
It's
1,000-foot
explain
wall
why
that
we
must
don't.
exist
The rest
in a
of the island,
presuppositional
Nathan.
world of globes
curvature that's missing.
that has
You
no
can't
evidence
explain
to
the-
support it. But
can't
Explain
the
why we
missing
don't see
cliff.
the rest of the island,
I did.
Nathan.
I used evidence. I
got
pointed it out.
nothing.
You didn't accept it.
No, you have the Emperor's New Clothes. You've got no evidence for it, Nathan. Oh,
You
it's
do.
sniped up.
Yeah.
I literally went into the image, described the line, admittedly on my low-res
Do
picture,
you,
and the
Yeah, and I
reflection.
pointed
Hold
out
on.
that
See,
the
whenever
other
I
line
get to
would be the
talk,
same thing,
you just
Nathan.
talk over me. So we're
No,
all
because
fair
you
and
changed the
square,
subject.
right, guys? We're all fair
all
and
right, well,
square.
fair square. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But show us the evidence. That's not fair and
Yeah, I
square.
did. I showed
have-
you
do-
a
what am I
line
asking
with
for,
a
Nathan?
reflection
What
below
have
and
I asked
above
for? Do you
that
show me?
seems
Do
to
you
match.
even know
So we've got
what
a
I asked
reflection above and below the hard, solid line that's evidenced in the image, and the
Yeah.
above superior mirage would be blocking the exact amount of land.
What have I asked for you to prove this? Nathan?
Shown it.
What did
I've
I
shown
come
it
in and
already.
Ask you for?
What I've asked Paul
Just
to
prove
do
that you're
is,
actually
is show the
No,
evidence
ask-
for
No,
anything
no,
looming,
Nathan,
and he
what
just
have
tells
I
us that
asked you for? It's difficult.
geometry
You
says it
understand?
must be because we're on a ball.
Can you understand? Are you just going to dance, or are you going to say that you listen to what I asked for? So to prove this reflection line, it'd be really easy, Nathan. It would be so easy. You just need
Can't
a
prove it.
boat
I can just demonstrate
crossing it,
evidence that
being
supports it,
refracted up.
Alex. And I
You need a
have.
boat approaching.
Can't prove
you
it.
need a
I
boat
can
approaching the
provide
horizon and being
evidence that
refracted up
supports
in the way
my
you're talking
assertion,
about.
and I have.
You haven't got it, have you? And you should be able to find that easily.
Just
to prove
said it.
that. It would be
2
the
or 3
easiest thing to
times, and
find,
you are
Nathan, with a
now
camera.
literally ignoring me.
It's ridiculous. Your
Yes, so
argument
while
is
I get continually
ridiculous,
muted,
and you
so while
look
the audience
silly.
sees what's happening, that while I point out that I have a 1,000-foot wall that isn't
Yeah,
there.
change the subject.
No.
Nathan. We've heard
Emperor's
about
New
your
Clothes,
stupid
my
1,000-foot
friend. It's
wall.
not there.
It's going to make you look.
It needs to be there, but it
ridiculous.
isn't. So we have.
1,000-foot wall. Changing the
Why
subject,
can't
Nathan.
we see the rest of the island, Nathan?
Yeah,
You're
but you can
missing
see
it.
the
Why
entire
can't it be
island
impossible
being
to see the
loomed
island?
from behind the curve of the Earth, right, Paul? It's all being brought back from behind
No,
that
I'm asking
curve
you,
that's not there.
Why
Change
can't
the
we
subject,
see the rest
Nathan.
of the
Dancey
island,
dance.
Nathan?
Yeah, I want to see some evidence of looming. I have
No,
had
you
on
don't.
screen
I
the
wanna
image
see
and
an
demonstrated
explanation for
why
my
we can't see the
assertion
rest of the
using
island,
my
Nathan.
evidence. When it comes to you
got nothing to back
demonstrating
up
that
your
there's
assertion,
looming,
okay?
you
Not
talk all
demonstrable,
over me
is it?
and you don't go to the photo, you just tell us that it has to be because you live on a globe. We have to
And you're
accept it.
telling us it refracts because it has to, with no
Well, we
evidence.
can see it. It's
You
evidenced
literally-
in the image.
You can't provide one picture to prove
Yeah,
that.
I did. I went to the picture, showed you, and evidenced it
Well, I'm gonna get
using the
sniped now,
picture
but-
itself. You just didn't like the evidence. When it comes to the looming, there is no evidence. We just have to accept it. It's geometry. It's the fact that we
Mate,
live on a globe. It has to be
embarrassing
behind the
yourself.
You just
curve.
have to
Question.
accept your assertion that it's
Exactly.
refraction that hides the bottom of the
Hypocrite.
island. Hey,
Yeah, I showed
Nathan?
it. Demonstrated it using the
You
photo.
are a
Now show me
hypocrite,
how the
well
photo
done.
demonstrates that it's
Somebody snipe
looming.
me. Catty Earth, snipe me out of this shit.
So yeah, No evidence whatsoever for looming. There is evidence to show the refraction is hiding the bottom part of the lighthouse, as I showed. Don't have to accept it. Don't have to accept it, Paul. Nobody's asking you to accept it. Like nobody's asking me to accept that the entire island's looming, because it's not.
No. What, so
Anyway, I've said my piece. Fun though it was to laugh at the
fantasists
fantasists who see the Emperor's new clothes and think there's curves in the way when there isn't. Fun. Hold on, new guest, M. Scott Veach. How you doing?
What you're saying, but you can't.
Hold on, Cap. Button it.
Because you know it's.
How you doing, M. Scott Veach? Good to have you here. You've got on mute at the moment, my friend.
M. Scott. Yeah. Is he going to talk? Come on, Scott.
Hashtag justice for Lottie.
Say something.
Yeah, and pay up for Lottie, man. $5,000. You guys are the biggest liars, man. It's insane.
Anyway, Paul's got a demonstration now. You go ahead, Paul.
Well, I'm just going to ask you, Nathan. So which is the line of reflection? Is it this one, or is it this one here, or is it this one here, or is it this one here, or is it this one down here, or is it this band here, or is it this band down here, or is it this one here? What physical evidence do you have to identify where the refraction is occurring there, Nathan?
So I'm now showing it for the audience's sake, Paul. This same line I showed last time. Thank you for the slightly clearer image. It's much easier for me to point it out now. I evidence what I'm suggesting on the image, which is that we have a very, very, very distinct, clear, straight line with what looks like the exact same reflection above and below that line, coincidentally being the amount that would be blocked. The amount of land that is missing sits directly on this line. There is my assertion, using the evidence to demonstrate what I assert is blocking the land. Now, in response, Paul, any chance of you showing a shred of evidence that the entire island is looming a quarter of a mile at the other end up above the curve of the Earth, and at this end at 300 feet above the curve of the Earth, and being projected entirely perfectly and uniformly along the length of the curvature? Any evidence of that, Paul? Any evidence of that, Paul?
What?
Any evidence at all?
No.
Any evidence?
You've been talking about your stupid wall for 3-4 days. You sound like a retard, mate.
Yeah, I just get constantly muted while you guys call me a retard and don't show me evidence. So I've just done as requested. I've shown what I assert to be a very distinct line. Oh, it's gone. No, I can't show my evidence anymore. Gone.
No, you can't. Why should we let you?
You've just asked me to,
let
you
anyone
moron.
else talk, barely.
Just ask me to.
You just say, oh, it's just refraction.
Just ask me to, and then when I do, you don't like it. You don't like it when I do it, though. I get constantly muted in the Hangout when I'm trying to show you something specifically that you've asked me to do. So that's fine. It's all good. You guys are clearly easily triggered, totally devoid of any evidence.
You've been easily made to look stupid here, and you just
No, not at all. I'm the one saying we just see it. You're the guys saying it's being projected above a quarter of a mile of Earth curve at one end of the island, 300 feet of Earth curve at the other end of the island, is perfectly being projected to the point where we literally cannot tell the difference between it and direct line of sight with it. You guys are complete fantasists. I say we just see it. We just see it. We just see it. It's simple. We just see it. No apologies needed. No explanations required. Just we see it.
No, yeah, you
easy.
can just say this is what I believe. Now tell me about a 1,000-foot wall. You're such a hypocrite.
That's what's necessitated in your model, Cat Earth. You just don't get that yet. There is in your model a 1,000-foot wall in the way. There is.
But the theory, the fact is, someone as dumb as me could outsmart you on this.
You haven't, Matt. You haven't, Alex, in the slightest. You think you have. That's again because you overestimate your own intelligence, like most thick people do.
I know what you're asking, Nathan. You don't know what I am asking, do you? You don't understand the point I'm making to you about why this theory of yours is easily debunked. Do you get it? Explain to me what my argument against you is. About the boats going towards the horizon, Nathan. I'll make it easier for you. And why does that debunk what you're saying? Oh, you don't get it, exactly. Very embarrassing. He's probably doing his links. So, he's so embarrassed right now.
Nathan, why doesn't the reflection cover up this part that I can see in the image here? Why doesn't the reflection from below cover up that thing that I see on the waterline there?
Well, the boat.
Why is that discontinuous along the top there? Shouldn't, if it's a reflection from below, it be continuous along the top here? I don't see
happens
this
at the
thing
horizon
here
line,
being
Paul.
reflected from down here
Because
somewhere.
it happens at the horizon line.
Exactly.
What, it's just choosing what it reflects now, is
No,
it?
we've seen it 1,000
It's
times on
decided
other
that it
Flat
doesn't
Earth
want to
videos.
reflect over the top of this bit,
Generally
but it wants to
speaking,
reflect over and
generally
cover up
speaking,
this, but
that
it doesn't want to
band-
reflect and cover up this here.
Generally speaking, that band
Why?
is at the horizon line
Perhaps
and
because
obscuring
it's
bottoms
not-
of buildings and boats. Normally, it's much,
not
much bigger.
refraction
In this instance,
covering
it's
it up,
tiny.
is it?
Teeny tiny. And boats that are in front of it are still
Can you
seen.
please
Silly
explain
one,
to me
mate.
why your reflection
I am, you're just talking
is
over
not
me.
covering up
Talking
this,
over me
Nathan?
continually while I do explain that. So, it happens at the horizon line and is
They can't
usually...
explain it because it's a ridiculous
you see, you've got Cat
explanation. And for him to just come on and try and pass it off.
Yeah, it's
and
because
then
I'm being
move on.
continually muted.
I've given
Every
you
time
my
I try and
explanation, now
talk,
let's go
I'm
on.
muted in the Hangout. Watch as Arwin, whatever fake sock, mutes me. See?
Oh, I'll win.
So I don't get chance to explain because when I do, I'm basically trying to explain with evidence what I see, not what mathematically dictates the presupposition that I live on a curve. Not at all. I just describe what I see.
Nathan, yeah,
You
we've
guys
had
give me
this
maths
chat. The reason we
to explain
interrupt you
something
Yeah,
that
we
is the
change
Emperor's
but I
new
want an
clothes.
explanation
The curve that
for
don't
why
exist.
your refraction
See,
explanation
as soon as I start talking
somehow
about this curve that don't
fails.
exist, the guys in the
Thing
Hangout
here.
talk over me, and the guys outside the Hangout mute me. So that's how it works for me. When you've got basically simple explanations for simple things that occur, people don't want to hear it. In the Hangout, I get muted or I get talked over. That's what happens.
You get muted when you're talking gish gallop. We just want to hear you
No,
talk
no,
about
you
the thing
asked
and
me
not
to
change
evidence
subject.
what is blocking the
I'm not going,
lighthouse.
I do everything
As
by
I did it,
explanation.
I was muted
Explain
continually and
it.
talked over continually. You guys don't want to
That's
hear
fine,
it.
yeah.
You
I mean,
guys
what
want
you
to.
saying,
You guys
everything,
want
what
to
you
sit
explaining
for
yourself.
20 minutes in silence while you listen to rumpus. Use cartoons and maths to tell you why your presupposition
This
is
is not
correct.
a cartoon.
This
This is
still
the
not answering
image
the
of the
question.
Isle of Man.
Yeah, I see it.
This is
I
what
see
you
it. I
wanted
see
us
it.
to show.
I see it. Simple.
Image of
I can
the
see
Isle
it.
of Man.
I can see it. There's nothing blocking my view of the boat. That's why I see it.
You
Simple.
wanted us to show the image of the Isle of Man.
Yeah, that's a
Here's
boat, I
something
see
that
it.
I want you to explain, Nathan.
I have.
Why
We see
isn't
it.
this thing being covered up by your magical reflection
Because
nonsense?
it's in front of the horizon line that I've just detailed and explained twice with the image.
But the horizon line goes right through this thing here.
It's
so
in front
why
of it.
isn't it being reflected up
in
and covering this,
front
Nathan?
of it. There you go. Do you not accept that it's in front of that?
What?
Is it in front of that band I've just described, yes or
isn't
no?
the water that's being, why isn't the water that's being reflected up from down here, which is where you say it's being reflected up to here?
Said it twice.
It should
It
be hiding
happens
this then, shouldn't it?
at the horizon line. I've said it twice. You don't have to accept it. I don't
What?
care either
So
way.
the reflection just magically goes behind things that are in front of the horizon, but magically covers things that are behind it? Oh,
The boat's-
that really
The boat's
is
in front of the
something
horizon.
magical.
I've just said that. Now you're
So
saying
it's
it's
something
behind.
front
So
of
you're
the
just
horizon,
changing what I've
the
said
magic
to suit your
reflection
argument.
doesn't
Fine.
cover it
No
up,
problem.
but if
It's all right. The
something's
audience
behind
gets this.
the
Is very
horizon,
telling
the
for the
magic
audience as I get
reflection
continually
does
muted.
cover it up.
All the flat earthers get kicked out. I
Wow.
sit on the panel with 4
What an
globies.
embarrassment.
The host
Yeah,
having to
good.
defend the
Good.
show
That's what
against
you
4
deserve, Nathan. You
globies
deserve-
who basically are all
deserve
fantasists.
people 4
They
hours
all
a day
see the
and I'm
Emperor's
just
new
waiting
clothes.
for 4 hours
You'd be
a
there,
day.
wouldn't you,
That
Paul?
is
Oh, you
your
look so
magic
beautiful, Emperor.
reflection
Well, he's there,
doesn't
doesn't
Starkers.
cover up
Got it.
something that's in front of the horizon, but does cover up things behind the horizon.
Yeah, correct. It happens at the horizon
Why
line,
does your
precisely as
magic
I've just said, Paul,
reflection
twice. I
cover
think that's
up
the third
things
time I've said
behind,
it.
but
Third time
doesn't
I've said
cover
it.
up things in front?
Yeah, things in front of us are seen prior to the convergence that happens at the horizon line. Simple. We can see it because it's there.
But why doesn't your magic
Okay, I'll ask
reflection
you a
cover it
question,
up?
Paul. Now
Why
I'll ask
does
you a
the
question,
magic
Paul.
reflection-
I've answered your
why does the
question.
magic
Now I'm going to ask you a
reflection
question.
appear behind objects.
Why isn't the
So you
curve
can
of
see
the
then,
Earth
you can
blocking
see
our view of
then
that
before we
boat,
move
Paul?
on, you can see
I'm going to
wrong,
ask you a question,
obviously, 'cause you
Paul.
wanna
Why
move
isn't the
It's-
curvature of
it's
the
totally
Earth...
That's fine.
ridiculous.
Why isn't the
No
curvature of
reflection
the Earth
argument.
blocking our view of that boat,
Total
Paul?
Moving on.
nonsense.
Why isn't the curvature of the Earth
Justice
blocking our
Lottie,
view of that boat,
pay
Paul?
Lottie his money.
Why isn't the curvature of the Earth blocking our view of that boat, Paul?
Nathan, shut up a second. We're discussing justice for Lottie now.
Right, what's happening is I'm getting continually muted while I ask Paul to explain why the curvature of the
No,
Earth
we
isn't
don't- we don't
blocking the
want
view of the
to ask any
boat.
more questions, Nathan.
Oh, he's got
We
rid of the
just
boat
want you to
now.
be quiet,
ask
please.
Awkward question. So why
Why-
wasn't the curvature of the Earth
why
blocking the view
that-
of the boat, Paul?
No, Nathan, you're not listening. Remember,
No.
we said we
No,
want you to.
No!
Why doesn't your magic reflection cover
I've
up
explained
the
it
boat,
3
Nathan?
times. The convergence line is behind the boat, and the boat is there. We see it because the Earth is flat. Now
Convergence
explain
line-
why
what
the
do
curvature
you-
of the Earth
what-
isn't
what
blocking
do
our
you
view
mean
of the
by
boat. Why
convergence
isn't the
line?
curve of the
What
Earth
is a
in the way of the boat,
convergence line?
Paul?
Why isn't the reflection covering up the image there?
Seems
That's
like you're
what you're
asking me a
claiming
different
covers
question.
up
I explained
everything,
by
Nathan.
saying the convergence line was behind the boat, and the boat is there because we just see
What's a
it.
convergence?
Now, I want
what's a
you to tell me
convergence
why the
line,
curve
Nathan?
of the Earth, for the third time, see if we get an answer this time,
That's a
isn't blocking our view of the boat.
It's a non-explanation.
Oh, I get my
Please
questions get
demonstrate
called
what
non-explanations.
these
I've given it.
convergence
You don't have to accept my explanation, Paul. But I'd like to hear your explanation for why the
And I
curve of
don't.
the Earth isn't blocking the boat.
What's that?
Why? Fourth
Why the
time.
curvature of the Earth is blocking the boat? Because it's in front of the horizon. That's a simple explanation, isn't it?
Yeah, it works nicely on a flat plane. Thanks.
No, it doesn't, Nathan. You're an idiot.
Oh, well, there should be a curve of the Earth in the way, as I understood it.
But
So there's.
on a flat plane, we should see the bottom of the island, Nathan.
Why do we see the bottom
And
of the
your
boat?
reflection nonsense doesn't explain
Why do we see
we
the
can
bottom of
see
the boat,
this
Paul? Why do we see the bottom of the
in front
boat?
of the horizon.
Why do we see the bottom of the
Because
boat?
your
Why isn't there a curve of the
reflection thing
Earth?
should cover up this boat,
Why is
shouldn't
the
it?
curve of the Earth not blocking the bottom of the boat?
What?
Why is the curve of the Earth not obscuring the bottom of the boat?
Because it's in front of the horizon, Nathan. But according to you, this boat is sitting right in that reflection zone,
I said it was
which
in
should
front of
be
it.
hidden.
Keep misrepresenting what I've said, even though I've said it about 5 times. I said it sits in front.
No,
You're now saying it
Nathan,
sits
Nathan,
inside.
shut up. We need to introduce M. Scott Veach.
He's already been introduced. Thanks, Lottie.
Hey, is my mic working now?
It is.
Oh, excellent.
Yep, it is, Scott. Thanks.
Nathan, can I try something real quick with you?
Sure, go ahead, Scott.
Oh, he does this. He'll ignore you if you ask him a question. He'll just
Oh.
decide not to
That's
answer
right.
back. It's
I
very
guess.
frustrating.
Don't wait for politeness, Scott. You won't get it.
Well, I was just going to point out something that doesn't get said yet is that it's weird that we keep talking this way because there's a word for what he's talking about when he says refraction, right? There's a word for it. It's called sinking. Sinking is a type of refraction, and looming is a type of refraction. What's weird about what we're saying here is that looming and sinking are the exact same phenomena. I mean, if one can be happening, if he can be saying refraction is the reason we don't see stuff, then he's also saying looming is possible. There's no difference between these phenomena.
Would you like me to show some evidence of looming in the
That's right.
picture? There is looming going on in the picture. Would you like me to show it you?
Oh, sure. How do you?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's do that then.
How do you do that?
Yes, go ahead, Nathan. I'll allow that. That's fine.
Thank you, Lottie. That's really kind.
No problem. I'm reasonable.
You are. Go past the lighthouses we can't that aren't blocked by Earth curve. Just go past them. And all these buildings that should be blocked by Earth curve as well. And then we get to a little bit of land that looks like it's levitating. That would be looming. Any evidence
see
of the
anything,
entire island looming, Paul?
We can't see anything, Nathan. You're not sharing anything.
Ah, my apologies. Okie dokie. Can you see this? I assume you don't believe it's actually floating land. I would assume you would accept that as evidence of looming.
Wait a second, Nathan. I'll try and present you now. Let's just see.
Yet again, for the audience, every time I try to make an example, I get muted in the Hangout. So yeah, I just get muted in the Hangout every time I try to make an example. Even though it's me against three globe heads and I'm the host. No flat earthers on the panel. Every time you ask me to demonstrate one of these... There we go, you're going to talk all over me already. You're going to talk all over me. I've literally just got my mic back open and I'm being talked over immediately. You've asked me to demonstrate something. I've said I will, and here it is. This land
we didn't ask
is
you, Nathan.
not...
It's incorrect. You actually offered. We didn't ask. You said, would you like to?
And somebody accepted
There
the
is a
offer.
difference.
And the offer was accepted. So... Now I'm showing
but
you.
that's not asking,
this,
is it, Nathan?
this land is not floating.
That's accepting the offer.
This is an example of looming.
How do you know that?
Total silence.
How do you know that though?
No, he asked you.
How do you know?
No, Nathan. He asked,
How do I know that? How do I know that? Because we've been given by the globe heads numerous examples of what looming is, and that is looming.
That's not an answer, Nathan. Being giving the information is not an answer.
Okay,
How
Lottie,
do
whatever.
you know it is
whatever.
looming? It's
Whatever you
not
say.
a difficult question.
Whatever. Yeah, just telling me it's not an answer. You can say that you don't accept my answer. That's perfectly fine.
But I think if your definition of looming is like, if we're telling you what looming is, then we're also telling you that it's other places too. That's not the exclusive.
Got
that's
a
not
new
the only
guest.
place
Hold
you can
on,
find
sorry.
looming, so
Got a new
we're
guest.
somewhere else,
New guest.
so why don't
New
you
guest.
accept that?
Got a new guest. Bear with me. How you doing, the rig? Good to have you here.
How are you doing,
Hey,
Rick?
good,
Nice to have you here. Welcome to the Rick.
Yeah, Lottie, this attempt at trolling was done by Lou yesterday. It wasn't very funny then.
I'm not attempting to troll. I'm just being a better host and moderator than you are.
Right, go and run your own show. You want to run mine?
No,
you won't.
I'm trying to make this a better one for you. It's.
Oh, right. Well, that's good for you, mate.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Okay, carry on. Nathan, I have one request for you. Can you add
Great hosting,
Ranty
Lottie. Great
through
hosting.
Skype?
Great hosting. You tell people to carry on. There's a long silence, and then you speak again. Cracking hosting. Wonderful job. You'll go far.
Nathan, I didn't.
You'll go far.
didn't
You'll do
take
well.
this-
I can't wait to
just
see your
remain
show,
silent.
Lottie. Can't wait.
Spoken to that.
Can't wait. Can't wait to see your show.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to your show, Lottie.
Okay, so Nathan,
Good
can
show.
you add Ranty
Can't wait
through
to have
Skype?
you on
Is that
again,
okay?
Lottie. You're such a great guest. Fun? You enjoying yourself, Lottie?
Nathan, you're not answering
Good
questions
to
again.
know that
This
you're
is
enjoying yourself. Glad to know.
infuriating. You're not very
You've been a
smart.
really good host. Thank you for being here. Saving me the job.
Stop being a child,
Good man.
Nathan.
Good man. You've
and-
been a really good host. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Nathan.
Yes?
So what is your ideal world? Is your ideal world that we just ignore all light refraction issues totally?
No, I just see the island because it's there. I don't have to apologise for a curve that isn't there and then make up maths to explain the curve that isn't there. I just say we see it. It's simple.
Yeah.
We see it
But then-
because it is there.
Yeah. But then we have this problem though, right? Because we don't see all of it. We know that on the bottom of the lighthouse, we're not seeing some of it, right?
Yes, and therefore I gave a visual explanation for it using the evidence, and whether or not you accept that explanation is entirely up to you.
I accept it. So you said it's refraction, right?
We have a superior mirage of the water sat on what looks like a very distinct line at the line the horizon would be according to Google Earth and the images of the lighthouse that we've been presented. So logically, when that explanation was given using the evidence by Anthony Riley, I thought it made sense and I accepted it. You don't have to. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to accept that the entire bloody island is looming a quarter of a mile at one end of the island and 300 feet at the other end of the island and being projected perfectly and is indistinguishable from if we just saw the thing. I don't have to accept that because it's
I definitely agree with
nonsense.
that. I
But
think that-
if
I
you
think
don't want
nobody
to
wants anyone
accept,
to
if you
fix
don't,
stuff,
if you
right?
don't want to accept that I just see it because it is there, and that is literally the extent of my explanation for it, then you don't have to accept that either. You can tell me all about presuppositional curves, and you can tell me all about looming, and all about how it works mathematically, and you can show me all the cartoons in the world. I don't have to accept that. Okay?
But here's what I think is
You can say all you like that it's a presuppositional curve, but it's not, because we measure the curve in other ways, Nathan. We don't presuppose that it's a curve. We
No, this
actually
is getting
measure it
somewhere.
in other
Go-
ways,
tell us
Nathan.
all about it.
It's not a presupposition at
Tell
all.
us all about it. I'm interested. Wonderful.
Yeah. It was shown that it was a curve 2,000 years ago. Eratosthenes showed that it was curved.
It's not a presupposition we knew 2,000 years ago. That's brilliant. I love it.
Well, he measured it. He measured it and showed that it was a curve.
Sticks in the ground
There's
and
no
shadows.
presupposition there.
I'm sold. Sold.
Yeah, sticks in the ground, Nathan.
Convinced.
That's
Case
how
closed.
simple it is.
It's all over, man. Game
That
over.
is how simple it is, Nathan.
Been joined by a new guest. How you doing,
Just
Lewis?
hold on, wait, guys.
Isn't it,
We've been
Nathan?
joined by a new
We've got a
guest.
new
We have to
producer.
stop the
New
show.
producer on deck. New
Lewis
producer
is
on
here.
deck. How you doing? New producer on deck.
Welcome,
New
Lewis.
producer on deck. Nathan, is a plane a two-dimensional object? Have I been sniped?
Don't talk, Louis. Wait till he answers you.
You're still there. Yep, we're just waiting for Nathan to answer.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he answer that?
I told you, he doesn't answer questions if he doesn't like them or he doesn't have the answer.
I don't like being asked if planes are two-dimensional. You're right. Anyway, big shout out to Sleeping
Is a
Warrior and the
plane a
Afterlife
two-dimensional
Now for
object?
the super chats. Much obliged.
Is a plane a two-dimensional object?
I think you'll find it's a
Yeah, you
one-dimensional
don't like
object.
it when somebody uses a
One-dimensional.
logical line of
One-dimensional.
questioning on you.
It's one-dimensional, right?
2.
Clearly, you were right to ask. I didn't know that.
Right. Is a curve, is a sphere a three-dimensional object?
Is there a point anywhere in our midst?
Don't worry, I'll get there.
But just try and get
That's
there
for
a
me
bit
to worry
quicker, eh?
about.
Try and get there a bit quicker without the rhetorical questions.
Oh, hey, no problem. If you answer quicker, I'll get there quicker.
Ask a question that requires an
Very good
answer and is not
Yeah,
rhetorical.
is a sphere a three-dimensional object?
It's another rhetorical question. Do you know what rhetorical means?
Not rhetorical. I want you to answer.
How can you decide if Louis' question is
Well,
rhetorical?
It's because he's a. Sorry
His-
for
sorry,
interrupting
his
you,
question
but
is a
because
sphere
he's
a
an
three-dimensional
unbiased,
object?
Moderator, clearly.
Would any on the panel
Nathan, you're not
have a
going to
different
decide
answer?
whether the question is rhetorical,
Okay.
whether you get to answer it. It's the person that poses the question who decides if they want an answer, and that would make it rhetorical or not.
All right. So if you accept that a plane is a two-dimensional object, and if you are occupying the space above a two-dimensional object, at no point is it going to obscure your line of sight over its surface.
Yeah, sure, unless atmosphere gets in the way and compresses and causes
Oh,
things like
atmosphere.
mirages to occur, as we've been
You can't
demonstrated.
see atmosphere.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Lou, you carry on. I thought you'd finished.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. That's cool. So, theoretically, you have a telescope. You should be able to see indefinitely far along the surface of a two-dimensional object.
So would you say that being on a flat plane over a sphere would mean that suddenly we completely ignore the effects of refraction? They suddenly don't exist on a flat plane. Would you say that that's a reasonable
On a
thing
flat
to
plane, I would
assert
say
a flat earther would
refraction-
assume? So you are
I would
asserting that
say-
flat earthers assume that refraction
I
stops
wouldn't say
existing?
that, Nathan.
No, neither would I.
I wouldn't say that either. But granting natural observations in the world, we can tell that you can see much farther than the horizon. And it is the horizon that is, in fact, obscuring and blocking us from being able to see further along a line of sight that follows the ground.
That ground being curved, correct?
Well, the ground in reality is curved.
No,
Yes.
That's a presupposition.
No, it's not a presupposition.
Yes,
No,
it
it's
is.
not. It's not a presupposition.
Of course
No,
it
it's
is.
So
not.
if you have a table,
Yes, it is. It's a
that's flat.
presupposition or
Hang on,
argument
Nathan. If you have
to
a
say
table
that it's
that's
curving
flat.
around
Hang
the
on,
Earth
Nathan.
because the Earth
Hang
is
on,
curved,
Nathan.
therefore it
Hang on,
has to
Nathan.
curve.
Hang
When
on,
we have
Nathan.
instances
Nathan,
of the
hang on.
entire island
Hang on, Nathan.
being
Nathan,
visible.
just hold on. This is really simple. If you have a table and you put a camera down on it, there's no horizon.
Right.
If you bend the table, a horizon appears. And it changes as your observer height changes.
That's a nice assertion. Have you got any visual evidence or a video, something to depict that? I'm about to go to Phuket Word, who's got chopsticks on a table with a camera at table level, and he raises it up to demonstrate perspective. Now, what you've just asserted
Is that right?
should be
On a
demonstrated.
table, Nathan.
I'm being trolled
That's
by
not
Lottie straight away as soon as I get my point.
No,
out.
this is the
Trolled
great
by
and
Lottie
powerful
immediately.
Nathan Oakley and his staggering intellect at work.
Oh,
Ladies
ad
and gentlemen.
hominem, straight to ad hominem. Trolling, then
Embarrassing.
ad hominem. I'll go back on mute.
I don't need to ad hominem you, Nathan. You do it all on your own. If you'll just present my screen, I'll show you how you've been brainwashed and there's free energy waiting just around the corner for everybody.
Wow, this is an exciting conversation. Still waiting for this demonstration. I'm sure.
I'll go ahead and
It's a load of nonsense. No, go.
So we have approximately 1 hour left on this broadcast. Hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far, even though it's pretty much me holding my own against several globe heads. Either way, if you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it is live. Massive thanks to The Afterlife Now and Sleeping Warrior for hitting that super chat. Much obliged. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Most importantly, if you would like to join the debate, simply click on the link in the info box below your video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. There are a couple of rules in the Hangout. Number 1, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. But if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. If you've not done so already, please share the show on social media, as sharing obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please, please, please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate.
Look, let's be real here. The Rumpus went through basic maths yesterday. As he said, people learn this at 12 or 13, and they can't grasp it. It's insane.
I know. Yeah, I mean, the Rumpus puts so much effort into these morons, and
I think.
So, hey, Nathan, did you finally get done with your ad? You get done with your ad, Nathan? Is everything good?
I think we've been joined by a new guest. Is that Pete? How you doing, Pete?
How you doing, Nathan?
Awesome. I'm a new guest.
It's me, the one and only. I wonder how long I last before someone feels the need to kick me.
I mean, I'll try. I'll say, please don't snipe Pete.
People
but how successful that is,
all
I
the
don't know.
time.
You can't deal with any evidence that blows you out of the water.
You can tell yourself that if you like, but that's not what's really
Shut up,
happening. No, you shut up, Pete. I don't care about you.
You fool.
I don't care about you.
Offer.
There's literally nothing I care about.
Look at Lottie. Lottie, yeah. I've never spoken to you before, but everyone's a fool now except you, Lottie.
Before Nathan went on his ridiculous ad for his channel, I was going to give my brief explanation once again for why the Isle of Man arguments coming from Nathan, Riley, and Ranty are ridiculous.
No one's interested.
The first point is that if your whole point, Pete, just calm down. No one cares about you. The whole point is that if your goal is to demonstrate that Google Maps is not accurate with elevation, then we have no argument. That's something that they have a disclaimer on right off the bat.
Okay,
so there's no argument there.
Let's move to a more basic.
So the second point is that you don't go with that claim. You don't go with that.
We've heard all that before, Lewis. Let's move to a more basic issue. If it could be shown that the horizon,
if you go with actual proper
3 miles, I know your tactics, Lewis. You're well trained. You're well trained, Lewis.
Pete, calm down. Pete, calm down. It's okay. No one cares about you. I'm going to be done soon. You can talk in a minute. You can talk in a minute.
No.
If you go ahead and
I don't need permission from you to talk.
Of a minimum
I'll just do the same thing as you do. Is just keep talking.
The refraction doesn't matter.
Presenting your point of view.
Hey, you project. You do exactly what you claim others do.
No. I'm going to present a bit of evidence for you now, Lewis, that you can.
So if you assume an observer,
if you wouldn't mind sharing my screen, Nathan.
Given lots of objects in the pictures, in the photos, and using actual good estimation skills that you can develop over your life. Anthony clearly has none, or he's a liar. You know, he's either stupid and terrible at estimating distances that are in his immediate environment.
Do you think that people with a half a brain can't see all of you acting in unison?
If you assume an observer height of about 100 feet, then your refraction stuff, you don't need.
Whatever. Nathan, can you see my screen?
I'll present you in just a moment. How are you doing? Is Mark still
Nathan,
here? Or is he
if
gone
you
already?
go ahead and present me, then we'll be able to get to the bottom of this
being presented, Pete.
Okay, well, he was here first, I guess. If he's doing something serious, off you go.
Yep.
Mark's been and gone, it looks like. If he rejoins, I'll introduce him then. But till then, you've got the mic.
It's very
You're being presented.
It's very serious. We've all been brainwashed, and there's free energy just right around the corner. You see this guy with the boat? He can power his boat for free. Oh, Pete. No, Pete. Don't go, Pete. Mr. Shea. Come back. I want to hear about Behemoth. I want to hear about how the pronunciation of certain syllables is the key frequency resonance to help us do something.
So why aren't we being given the raw files from Anthony? Why is he not sharing the raw files with us? Has he got something to hide?
I've got an answer for that, actually, if you want to hear it. So, during the show, I think it was 2 days ago, he had the files ready to open, and he asked the panel, he said, if this supports me in my assertions, would you accept it?
You're wrong, Nathan. That wasn't on your show.
And Gem Panda said,
no. It wasn't on your show, Nathan.
Yeah, it was. Anyway.
No, it wasn't. Your show was over.
Been joined by a new guest. Been joined by Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Oh, that's really cool. We've been joined by a new guest.
Maybe not. Clearly the snipers don't want
That
to
wasn't on your show, Nathan. That was on my show.
Chris has obviously been sniped. Should I add him to this call, Nathan?
Yeah, if you can do.
Yeah, you should do that. You ought to get him in Skype.
I think it's the only way to do it, unless we have like a pre-hangout that stops.
Yeah, it's probably the only way to do it. You're probably right about that, Sleeping Warrior.
When I've just finished this putty, I want to address Paul.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. You guys are very smart people. We should listen to you more often.
How you doing, Chris? Can you hear us?
Yeah. Hi, Chris.
Yep, I can hear you. Yep.
Right.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. Good to have you here.
Morning. I'm going to overpronounce all of the unnecessary syllables.
Is the debate going well this morning?
Really well.
All right. Same as ever.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I should have a beer for breakfast and listen to you guys for a few minutes. Bear with me. I'll be back.
While he goes and does whatever he's doing, I just want to give Paul a fair response.
Obviously, while he's doing that is when you're going to speak.
Well, he's doing something, isn't he? So there would be no point speaking whilst he's trying to speak.
If
he's doing something, then it makes sense to do it whilst he's not doing something.
That's all. I'm just exacerbating about your exacerbation.
Nathan, is there any reason for why Lewis has to be in chat while he's like this?
He's welcome here. If that's what he wants to do.
The only rule is no swearing.
Correct.
I know, but there is a decorum. Like it's an unwritten rule of decorum, Lewis. If someone's speaking, you generally let them try and speak.
Your mouth about having decorum. You're a deceitful, fat-faced turd.
Hello, Mike. How you doing? No need to swear.
Morning.
Yep. No need to swear. No need to swear. Turd is a swear word, apparently.
Oh, sorry. Is there
the free energy
swearing?
Yeah, there's no swearing, guys. That's the only rules. No swearing.
Yeah, generally speaking, the panels tend to self-moderate. So, well, they self-moderate when Rumpus is talking. When Rumpus is talking, the Globeheads will give him 20 minutes of dedicated silence. You know, that's what the Globeheads will give Rumpus, 20 minutes of uninterrupted time to talk.
Well, Rumpus is right. He has correct
Rumpus shows you cartoons and gives you presuppositional arguments, but he's right.
Oh, yeah? Oh, is that why all the math that gets done on this show comes from him?
You're not trolling anymore. You seem to be engaging in a proper conversation now, Lou. It's good to have you here.
Oh, no, I'm still trolling. Don't you worry. I was in a proper conversation before, and you neglected to answer very basic questions to follow a Socratic line of reasoning.
To be honest, Lewis, I haven't seen any proper conversation from you for 2 hangouts.
Everything you say, Riley, is either stupid or a lie, and you can't tell the difference.
As I say, I haven't seen anything meaningful from you for 2 hangouts. Let's talk about your initial
video. You want to do that?
I actually want to ask Paul 2 questions, Lewis. With your permission, I'd like to speak with Paul.
You don't need my
Is that okay, Lewis?
For anything, but I appreciate you asking.
I'm just asking politely, will I be able to speak to Paul without being rudely interrupted by a 13-year-old child?
I don't know if we're all in here on the debate. You know, this is a debate after all. Oh, I mean, you got to keep in mind.
Do you understand that a debate works two ways,
you're
Lewis?
engaged in an
There is a back and a
intellectual
forth.
discussion about the shape of the Earth.
I'll take that as a no. You don't understand it.
Yeah, you should take that as however you like normal, like you normally do.
Okay, so just let the record show that I would like to address Paul with his vote
Let the
comments,
record show. I need
but I'm
to
not
make sure
be able
I
to
say
because
let
Lewis
the
is
record show
derailing
so
stuff.
everybody knows that I'm letting the record show, even though the record will let that show.
He just wants to address Paul to demonstrate
Spurs,
his
I'm probably about to get sniped.
total misunderstanding of refraction.
Spurs sniped me last time. We'll see what happens.
It'll probably happen again.
Yeah. That's all right. It's just
I'm sure Anthony just wants to demonstrate his complete misunderstanding of refraction. Make another assertion which is totally unjustified.
Hey, Anthony, I'd like to say it one more time so that you've heard it from my mouth. All of the land you see in your video on the horizon is the Isle of Man.
It's
Not
lovely,
all of the
lovely and
land on
wintry
the
here.
Isle of Man.
It's chucking it down. It's very blustery. There's nothing useful going on.
Chucking it down. It's very blustery. Yep. Well, maybe if you took better images with your P900, it wouldn't be so blustery.
Maybe you should make an appointment with the local council.
Look at that.
Make an
image
appointment
right
with your local council. They've got this plaque wrong, apparently.
I agree with the plaque, Paul, but I'm not going to be able to talk to you because Lewis is going to speak over me.
So you see the point of ire there?
Yeah, that's
Nathan,
the man to the right of the Isle of Man.
It's almost like the people
Nathan,
there had
if you rejected Jeremy just for the one swear word that Jeremy swore.
Right, wait, that's not Ireland.
Why
that's
is Nathan
point of
in
air,
here?
which is part of the Isle of Man.
Not Nathan. Why is Lewis in here?
Yeah, Lewis is in here.
What do you mean? Jeremy swore, so I kicked him out. He's been here many times.
He did.
Jeremy knows.
But I want to try and talk physics with Paul, and Nathan Lewis is simply going to speak over me all the time, and I don't see that there's any ability to have a conversation.
You want to talk about this diagram of the island?
Apparently, this is Ireland, but no, they've got it wrong. This is the rest of the Isle of Man.
I agree with the plaque, Paul. I have the same picture, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so why in your video did you say that Isle of Man ends before the point of ire?
And why did you claim that this was Ireland? And then you claimed it wasn't Ireland. And then you claimed it was Ireland again.
And you actually asked if it was Scotland, which is hilarious.
And you claimed that this bit over here was also Ireland. Except here they're saying that it's the calf of man. Not Ireland at all.
Paul, I'd love to be able to speak to you, but Lewis will just constantly interrupt me. There's no point in me addressing you in a minute.
Oh man, you just spoke to him for a whole minute there. It's like maybe not a whole minute, for about 5 seconds. Let the record
you are
show.
known for exaggeration, aren't you, Lewis?
Is misunderstand and misrepresent refraction and show you complete ignorance of how it really works.
I'd love to interrupt Anthony Riley right now, but he's not talking.
Anthony probably wants to say, why aren't we addressing the fact that refraction also can bend light? Oop. But under most of the circumstances over water, refraction bends light
I don't
down,
need to address that while Rompus is not in. I'm addressing weird science in chat. Where is the raw image in the metadata? It's contained within the files, weird science. And I don't mind sharing it, but it wouldn't prove anything. It'd only cause me problems by sharing it because it's falsifiable.
Anthony,
why would it cause you problems,
no
Anthony?
Point me doing it.
Anthony, that plaque debunked your entire
I can't imagine
video.
why it would cause you problems. Surely, if you're being honest, it wouldn't cause you any problems whatsoever.
Because it wouldn't be accepted. I can't imagine
how could the metadata possibly cause you problems?
Because it's falsifiable.
Well, I mean, have you falsified it?
Would you accept it if I'd said one way or the other?
Have
if I said
you
no,
falsified
would you accept
your metadata?
Would you accept it if I told you?
Oh, so you're not going to answer that one because you know what you say can and will be held against you.
I'm not going to answer it. My question is, would you accept it if I told you the answer?
Answer it. It's a reasonable question to ask. It's actually more reasonable than show us your metadata.
But would you accept it if I told you the answer?
Yes, of course. We would take you at your word, and then we would ask you for the metadata, and we would cross-reference.
It's going to call, right? Is it falsifiable data or not? Is the EXIF data falsifiable, yes or no?
Yes, it's falsifiable. Have you falsified it?
So what is the point in me showing it?
Have you falsified it?
There's no point in me answering it because it's going to cause me more trouble than it's worth.
Have you falsified your metadata for your images from St. Bees?
You're making yourself look like a lying, deceitful turd as it is. So why don't you just answer the question?
Because you guys think I'm a lying, deceitful turd, so there would be no point on answering
because of the
a
things
point
you've done. You understand
that's
that, right?
falsifiable. There is no point.
Simple questions which would determine whether you are a lying, deceitful turd. So if you just say, no, I didn't falsify it, we've got something to work on.
Because if it supported my position, you wouldn't accept it. If it didn't support it, you go, you faked it. Now, obviously, I'm not going to fake it against myself, am I? So it can only do one of two things: either be untouched and I can't prove it, or be falsified and support my position.
If you don't want to show it, you don't have to, and we don't need to see it. It's not like it's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of our believing you.
It isn't going to change anything, is it? Whether I show it or not.
Well,
if I show it, all it's going to do is someone's going to say, "You've lied, you faked it."
Of understanding that. For us to accept things that you say, you know, you've got a pretty substantial hole to dig yourself out of.
I don't have any hole to dig myself out of. That's just in your opinion.
Why is that plaque destroying every claim you've ever made about the Isle of Man?
It isn't.
No, I agree with the plaque, mate.
Surely
it supports
it is.
my position.
Surely it is.
No, I agree with the plaque. It supports my position. There is land that's shown in the evidence,
so we can see
but
what
it's
you
not
said
shown on
about
the
it.
plaque.
You want to go pull up your video?
Thanks.
You want to go pull up your video and compare it to this image of the Isle of Man?
No.
Oh, you don't want to do that? Oh, because there would be obvious obstruction.
Oh, no, I want to do that.
And that would demonstrate curvature. Oh, man.
I'm pretty sure that your original claim was that this to the right here was Ireland. That's what you claimed in your original video, Anthony.
Got a new guest. Sorry to interrupt you guys. Bear with me. Sorry, guys, bear with me. Got a new guest. Bear with me. Guys. Hello. Got a new guest. Stop in traffic.
Hello.
How you doing? Stop in traffic.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We can. Yes. Very good to have you here. First time you've been here.
Yeah, I'm out in California, man, and it's pretty early in the morning here, and it is as flat as can be.
Man, that's just so cool.
Good to have you here.
It took me like an hour to get this thing set up just so I could get on here with you guys from now on.
Wow, it took you a whole hour? Man.
Dude, my phone is really, really bad. Trust me.
I trust you.
Don't
worry. You think the earth is flat. I trust you.
And that's all you can say.
Well, see, the thing is, I know the earth is flat, and I also know my phone is very, very old.
How do you know that?
How do I know the earth is flat?
Yeah,
you know, the 7.96 inches per mile test is very, very easy over here at the beach.
Oh, is it? Can you see the mountains? Can you see the mountains? The Rockies? Okay.
I think he's been kicked.
No, he's
been kicked.
He's probably having connection problems with his phone.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's right. He did say his phone is terrible.
Nice to see him, though. Nice to have a new face.
But you can see why.
Thanks for sharing, everyone.
You can see why we don't trust you, Anthony, because like you've changed your position on the claim so many times.
Paul, pull the other one. At least you are prepared to look at the evidence, though. That's more than Rumpus is prepared to do, and that's why I want to talk to you. But
Rumpus actually
can't talk to you while Lewis
fantastic explanations and presentations for you.
Yeah,
spat all over them.
Paul's got his little chihuahua with him, barking at you every time you talk.
Botch up.
You're going to stroke your chihuahua.
Yeah, Rumpus has put more effort into this than the rest of us.
Stroke that chihuahua. Stroke that chihuahua. He's barking really well for you.
If you tickle him under his right hind leg, he starts scratching like in a funny tickle move.
Yeah, he's really cute.
I mean, he's right. And you guys take
Can you be our mascot, Luke? Can you be our little chihuahua mascot?
I mean, it's probably your left hand.
Like a little chihuahua.
Riley's right.
All bark and no bite.
All bark and
no bite. Little fuzzy ball, aren't you? You fuzzy little sod. You're cute.
There's nothing to bite.
Paul will get you a doggy treat.
Jem,
off you go, Paul.
Kick bloody Lewis for being an idiot.
Oh.
Come on, Paul, reward him. He's done well. Tap him on the head.
No. Paul and I don't really care about each other, and honestly, Paul probably doesn't like me too much in other respects, I would imagine, because I'm quite a young.
There's no drama there.
All right.
That's
I mean,
fine.
yeah, there's no drama, but I would imagine,
Well,
Nathan, for the sake of argument, I would imagine that if Paul and I had interactions outside of this, we would find many differences among what we, and what we think, probably in politics or something like that.
I'm sure we probably
But
would.
if you're gonna
so
kick,
the things that are divisive for people who think the Earth is a ball are not the same things for people who think it's flat. So the things that are going to divide you, Nathan and Riley, are going to be much different things than what would divide Paul and I, or Lottie.
If you're gonna kick Jeremy for saying one little swear word, kick Lewis here for just derailing the whole ability to have the debate.
I mean, Anthony, the only rules are no swearing, and I won't admit to derailing anything, and you can't prove intention. So, do you want to retract that claim?
This
I'd like
nonsense.
you to prove
Not at all, Lewis.
derailing.
I'll stand by it because you're a jerk. You're being a jerk.
Prove that I'm derailing.
You won't allow anyone to. You won't allow me to address Paul, and
prove that I'm
specifically got
derailing,
something I want to talk to Paul about.
Needs to be derailed. This is the thing. They need to derail this conversation because they've lost
Prove
it
that
badly.
it needs to be derailed.
The only way they can win this argument is if they
Prove
convince
that
the
claim,
audience to
Nathan.
believe in holographic projections.
Prove that it needs to be derailed.
They need to convince the audience that they
Because
have a
it's very
holographic
persuasive
projection
evidence.
of the land that isn't there.
Just
And that's
for
what they have to convince.
clarification
It's a
to the
tall
audience,
order. They're on a
let's say
losing
some
battle.
meaningless things and interrupt
Losing
people
battle.
just for that clarification of the audience.
Nathan, can I respectfully point out that at this moment there's an animation on
Respectfully
screen, and
point
Chris
out,
Monk
you
is
don't
sat
have to ask
patiently
for
waiting for a
permission
gap
to
to
point
speak,
things out, and you don't
he's
have
not
to
going to have a
ask for
chance to
permission to
present.
be respectful.
Yeah, I want to introduce him, but as you say, we've got what I would call a dick on the
Chihuahua,
panel.
a
But
chihuahua.
I'm not going to kick him for being a dick. This is what we endure in Flat Earth. We have Flat Earth proof
Yep.
on screen,
Yep.
and all the Globers
Please,
want to
Nathan,
do is
no.
troll
Oh,
over
yeah,
it.
let's see your proof.
When the
Let's see your
situation's
flat earth
reversed
proof.
and we
I
have to
can't wait.
endure rumpus,
That would be brilliant.
when we have to endure rumpus, we get 20 minutes of uninterrupted silence from the Globeheads. When we have Flat Earth
Yep.
proof on the screen, we get non-stop
Well, that's
trolling from
because
someone
you're
like
wrong
Lou.
right from the
And I just
get-go.
want the
Rumpus
audience to
is
see
never
that.
wrong.
That when it's rumpus with his cartoons, we give him uninterrupted
Wait, what
time.
is this? Is this a
When it's
cartoon?
Chris
Does Chris
Monk,
Monk
a
have a
new
cartoon
guest who's been on once before, he gets constant
Oh.
trolling from someone like
Man.
Lou, who's basically totally
Lou,
disrespectful.
Lou, my name is Lewis.
Yeah, I'll
Call
call
me
you what I
LL.
like.
I thought it was Louise.
I'll call you Chihuahua.
You can call me whatever you like.
You're right, I
obviously.
can.
It's your mouth.
You can call me what you like too. You can call me Tony.
Yeah,
if
I'll
you
call
want.
you by your name.
I'll call you Lou.
I'll call you, Nathan, I call you Sid the Sloth from Ice Age because you have funny eyes.
Thanks. That's very nice of you. Anyway,
We're
Chris.
still wondering why the magical refraction doesn't cover up this boat.
We might get an explanation
I'm
from
trying to tell
Chris.
you,
Any,
I can't get wording 'cause
maybe,
Lewis keeps speaking
like
over
with
me.
Rumpus yesterday, Paul. Any chance that Chris can make a
with
presentation?
Rumpus? Why are you using Rumpus as like a standard of something you don't like? Is that because
stating
he
facts.
destroys you and has
No,
an
it's
answer?
stating
none of
facts.
it's relevant.
Minutia?
Relevant because he got 20 minutes plus uninterrupted,
Oh, he got
total
20
silence
minutes.
from 10
Oh, man,
people
what
on the
an
panel.
entirely salient
10
point.
people. We've got about half as many people on the panel now,
Well,
and
is it
Chris
possible-
is
is it possible
indefinitely
that
waiting in the
explaining
wings for
things
you
to
to shut up,
people
Lou.
takes a long time?
It's all right. The audience can see what's happening. It's very telling on
Yes, they
your
can.
side
You're
of
right,
the
Nathan.
argument.
The audience
Very
can
telling.
see what's happening.
Don't
The
want to
audience
hear.
can see what's happening
Don't want to
very
hear
well.
the
Is that why you
evidence.
have
It's all right.
12 likes and 30 dislikes?
Yeah, people don't want to hear it. There's lots of Globeheads watching.
Yeah, people
No,
are
they-
listening to your show and they think that you're stupid. All right. So the audience, yes, as you said,
That's
can see
that's
what's
the same
happening.
sort of extrapolation as telling me that we have to have the land projected above the
so
imaginary
you just
curve.
want to ignore
You've
the
just
like-dislike
extrapolated those
metric?
dislikes and decided that
You
people
don't
think
have-
I'm
you don't have
stupid.
to
In the same
like
way as Paul
the fact that most
disseminates
people
his
think your show
argument
is
that we've got a
stupid. You
projection
don't
of
have
the
to like
land
that.
quarter of a mile behind Earth's curvature. It's about the same standard of extrapolation that you're both using.
Well, I mean,
and
you're
I see
wrong
how you
about
both
that,
yeah, it
so,
makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah,
figures.
I mean, you're wrong about what you think the curve is, and you're also wrong about
how
what you think the audience thinks.
mythical, magical reflection bit hides the land behind that boat, but does
It's not
not
mythical
show
or
us
magical,
wondering,
it's
Paul,
just
because we're not gonna be able to
evidenced
talk.
in the image. Evidenced in the image for our
that's
side
true,
of the
that's true,
argument,
Nathan. You don't
not
see right
evidenced
down
in
to
the
the
image
beach
for
in
your
this
side
image,
of the
but you see
argument.
right down to the
See,
boat.
in your side
What's
of the
going on?
argument, we have no evidence. We just have to
Funny
accept
too,
it's happening because
isn't
of
it, how this magical line of reflection changes as you go along the image too.
Nathan, maybe
Very
if
good
you
question.
maybe if you
I don't have an answer to that, unfortunately, Paul. I'm prepared to say I don't know. I'm quite happy to say I don't know the answer to that, Paul, and it is a very good question. I will not deny that.
But you know, whatever.
However, I have presented my evidence for the superior mirage of the water blocking the land.
You just have a picture.
You have presented the presupposition that we are on a globe necessitating the Earth to be lifted up a quarter of a mile at one end and about 300 feet at the other, uniformly and perfectly projected, so we cannot tell the difference between that and direct line of sight. That's what you have to have the audience accept for your maths to then take place. Afterwards, we've had the maths plenty of times before any evidence has been presented. We'll never get to the point where you actually present any evidence in the image because you don't have any. We just have to accept that it's uniformly projected and cannot be distinguished from the line of sight if it was there. And while we point this out to the audience over and over again, we'll get people like Tim Osman trolling in saying, isn't this argument over? While we ram it down people like Paul and Lou's throat while they talk over us. And patiently, we will have other flat earthers waiting in the wings to support this evidence. Whether or not you want to let Chris speak is entirely up to you. It's very telling to the audience that you don't want to hear what he's got to say.
There's like no flat earthers. There's like none of them.
Chris Monk's waiting to back up this with evidence. You don't want to hear it?
There's
fine.
two, Lewis. I'm sat here waiting to address Paul, and Chris Monk is sat here with someone on screen to show you, and you're not going to let him speak.
Is Chris trying to share something?
Yeah, it's been waiting for quite a long time.
It's going to be wrong.
15 minutes on the screen.
It's going to be wrong, but I mean...
About the same time as Rumpus had, we've had you trolling to stop it from being shown. Just to point this out. So where Rumpus gets silenced, the flat earther gets trolled for 15 minutes by you. Very telling. Very telling.
Nathan, by your own standard, Chris just has a bunch of cartoons.
Yeah, and I want to give the same consideration to these cartoons as we gave to Rumpus's cartoons.
Cartoons!
Yeah, and I would hope you would give the same respect to them as you gave to Rumpus. Clearly you don't want to.
Well, his cartoons are terrible.
Obviously, before we've heard anything about them, you're going to deny them and say they're terrible before we've even heard anything.
But, you know, we can go ahead and listen
telling.
if you want.
The audience is aware.
The audience is aware. Why do you think the like-dislike ratio is where it's at?
Wait, one second.
Lots of globers watching.
Do you think the audience, Nathan? Do you think the audience is on your side, or do you
I
think
don't care. The audience is here watching. I'm a winner regarding the audience because they're here watching. So from my perspective, I win either way. The dislikes, I don't. The dislikes mean nothing. YouTube don't even care about the dislikes. Not interested. I'm a YouTuber. So if people are here watching, good. Dislike if you don't like it. If you don't like the Earth being flat because you're a globehead, stick a dislike. Feel free.
You're answering a question that wasn't answered. I didn't ask you that question.
Lewis
Do you
is
think the audience
permanently,
sides
so
with
what's the
you
problem?
on this issue?
And what's the problem?
They literally are with me, Lottie. They are literally here with me right now. That was my answer and is my answer now. They are literally here with me. Literally. Physically in front of their computer watching me as we speak, Lottie. You moron. Yes, they are with me, Lottie, to answer your question. They are literally in front of their computer with me as we speak. Otherwise, they would not be the audience. That is, by definition, what an audience is, you complete idiot.
Nathan, do you think the audience is on your side regarding this issue?
They're here with me. The audience is with me, as you phrased it. They are literally with me right now.
You guys they're watching Lewis interrupt. They're watching you interrupt. They're watching Chris Monk and Flat Earther sit back and wait patiently.
We'll get more trolling than the actual information from Rumpus.
I'd like to talk to Paul.
Because they're losing.
They see it.
Tells the audience that they're losing. If we have to do an off-air hangout with Chris because they physically won't let him have his time, then it will be criticised because, oh, you didn't let anybody debate. And what I will say is, we did. He came on normally like everybody else and was trolled.
People will see right
hold on, new guest. Hold on. More important than you. Hold on. Hold on, more important than you. Button your lip, verbal diarrhea, chihuahua. How you doing, Dawn?
Chris not presenting is his own
Sorry,
issue.
Dawn. Just got to get you one sound check just to make sure we can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. Pleasure.
Yeah, we got Dawn Treader. Now, I mean, if you're going to make such a fuss about all this, I guess, I'll put myself on mute. We can go ahead and I'll promise.
Just leave, Lewis.
You don't have to. You don't have to. Carry on. You don't have to. No one's asked. I haven't asked you to. One of the other guests has. You're free to do as you please, Lou. Do as you choose, my friend.
Go. I'm going to act normally.
Well, take him at his word. Chris, you're on screen presenting in your own time.
How much time do we have left now?
As much as you want.
25 minutes.
Well, you have a 2-hour.
Correct, 25 minutes.
25 minutes, you said, right?
Yep.
Wow. How long was I actually waiting?
I don't know. Maybe you should get on with your presentation.
Lou, I'm going to politely say this. Please, try not to interrupt him. It'd be great to just hear him. Thanks. I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem, Nathan. Thank you for being polite. At least we're not swearing. Chris, you got a presentation?
Are you familiar with light ranging and detecting using radar?
Yes. Not super familiar. Tell me about it.
Nope, not at all.
LiDAR. Light detection and ranging maps.
Sure, where'd you get this?
This is a light detection and ranging map. Right here. So it has topology on it.
Awesome.
So the altitudes and ranges are accurate.
Looks so realistic.
I'd like to know where you got this.
So when you look at the map here, you can see that the camera is positioned. I'll put it on the
is that a
material
field
view.
All right, he's had about 30 seconds with Lou interrupting him. Lou, please can you keep your questions to the end like you did with Rumpus?
I'd just like to shout out Alpha McCuskey. Yep, thank you.
Okay, if you could, please just
like
try to keep your questions. I know you'll have a lot. They may
joining the
mount up.
show.
It might be worth
like,
getting a
share,
pen.
Comment and subscribe. We don't have very much time. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah, if you want to grab a pen, maybe
Nathan,
write down your
perhaps
questions.
it might be better if we just ended this show and did a private one and then let Chris do it
maybe you should
uninterrupted
just
like
do a
Rompus
private
did.
one when
Got
people-
25 minutes.
Shut up, Riley.
However it
We
gets
didn't want to talk
used
to
is
you.
entirely up to the panel.
Bored of you.
You know, it's up to the panel. I appreciate Chris's patience. He's had to endure the worst treatment thus far on this show.
Oh yeah, really? I much worse than you and Riley. We've been much more rude to Chris than we have to you.
Lewis, shut up. Come on.
Yeah, shut up. Shut up. So we're looking at a radar map. Great.
So yes, I'll go back to where I started. So a light detection
Shout out
ranging.
Shroomy. Shout out Shroomy if he's in the chat.
Big up, Shroomy.
Light detection ranging map shows topology.
Topography.
Topology, yes. Topography and
Okay,
topology.
great. Yeah, it shows the study of it. Great.
Yes.
All right.
So the altitudes and the ranges are correct using laser acquisition.
Sorry, Chris. Again, I forgot to shout out Mr. B. Shout
So
out
then what
Mr.
I did
B.
is I took the camera and I put it in
Do it
here,
again,
and I put
Lottie,
the
and I'll
camera
just boot
down
you.
to the
I will
position
boot
on
you,
the
Lottie.
ground.
You had nothing here,
And
so...
B's.
He's a legend.
You would see B's here where we had
Lottie, if you interrupt again, I'll boot you. Simple as that.
And the video.
You add nothing. So I will just boot you. This is your last warning.
Oh, no, Nathan, I haven't broken any rules.
So then what we did is we took this.
I make the rules. I will boot you if you interrupt it again.
Shout in the audience out. Keeping them involved.
If we change the rules, Nathan.
So you can see that when I swing the camera left or right.
Just let me know and I'll stick to them.
I've just told you. I am now making a new rule. If you interrupt him, I will boot you. There you go. Understood? Good.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. You actually broke up.
I will make the rule very clear. If you interrupt Chris again on this presentation, I will kick you out. It's as simple as that.
So the new rule is no interrupting.
So you can see that when we swing the camera left or right in the scene, it lines up with the...
Well, this is not an accurate representation of the Earth.
Then why, Chris, don't we see that in reality? Why, when we look at 360 degrees, don't we see land all around us from St. Bees?
When we line up the cursor with an actual object in the distance.
If the Earth is flat, this is what you would expect to see.
Map, exactly where the camera is pointed and what it's seeing in the topology.
Yep, we don't see that though.
At proper altitude. So
we don't
here
see
we
that
see
in real
clearly
life.
that what we're seeing in the background.
We don't see this in real life. So this is clearly not accurate to real life.
This mountain range here is actually south of Dublin, and when we swing the camera back around to look at the Isle of Man,
I'd just like to shout out Captain Jen as well.
You'll see
Not a
that
shout.
the camera's lined up with the Isle of Man, and when we swing it back to the right,
yep,
you can see that what is thought to be the Isle of Man is in fact this area in this region up here.
Well, no, it's not. We don't see that at all in real life. We don't even see
that at all
Scotland in real life. Yeah, but this is actually a great demonstration as to what you would see if the Earth
So
was
this peak
flat.
here is actually
Because
the
it's
peak
not,
right
we don't
here.
see Ireland at all.
So this is a flat Earth topology model.
And
Yeah,
this
is actually great for flat Earth.
This is pretty cool, isn't it?
Map actually used.
Literally can't hear a word
Look
he's saying
how
anymore.
much you can see on a flat Earth. Look.
If
can't
the Earth
hear a
was
word
flat,
he's
this
saying.
is exactly what you'd expect to see.
So when we click on that other topology here, we keep swinging the camera relative to the altitudes. You can see that we're actually seeing.
Can we look across to America and see if we can see that?
These mountain ranges in Ireland actually is what
we
we're
don't
seeing.
see that at all, dude. We don't see that at all. Go back to Anthony's video.
Image though, do we?
So, and then in the real image.
That's not what we see in the real image.
Bringing the real image
Using
up,
actual
Paul,
perspective and
try not to
refraction, you can
interrupt him.
line up the peaks precisely to the points on the map with precision.
Nope, you're not lining it up properly.
Lined up.
Chris, have you ever in your life had a stroke?
A picture is worth 1,000 words, so you just keep talking that on and off indefinitely until you're satisfied that is exactly what you're seeing.
No, that doesn't look anything.
That's not what you see.
Anything lined up.
It's not
There's
even
nothing
close.
lined up there. Not even close.
Yeah,
Why don't you zoom? Why don't you zoom that stitch
There's no
together?
similarity there whatsoever.
Yeah.
So for those that have eyes and ears to see and hear, there would be it lined up to a laser.
Those that have eyes and ears to see and hear, they'll notice that there's no similarity at all.
There's no similarity.
To precision as issued by the
Zoom out on the bottom.
military.
Zoom out on the bottom section.
The Earth is flurved.
How you doing, Mr. Flat Curve?
The Earth is flurved. And
Can we
if it
have a
were
look
flat,
at-
why can't you
only
see?
Great Britain, is it?
Why can't you see Ireland when you're at St. Bees? Why can't you see? Why can't you see Ireland at other places on the shore? Like there are.
We're actually seeing Ireland at St. Bees through this image. It's actually in the background.
No, you're not. No, you're not. Look, if you see, if you look,
he's trying to explain it to you, Lou, but you don't want to let him explain.
Take your cursor and move up to where Great Britain is closer to Ireland. And you can quite clearly tell.
Now, literally, Lou is trying to direct the presentation. This is what it descends to. Sorry, Chris. This is as good as it gets. Lou is now literally trying to direct the presentation.
We're within an inch of accuracy using laser detection and ranging software.
And the other thing is, we can't see any of Ireland to the left-hand side that you're showing on here. When you swing to the left-hand side, we should be able to see crap loads of Ireland, but we don't. We should be able to see land no matter which direction we look, but we don't.
Oh, this peak here in the background of the image is this peak right here.
No,
it's
not.
No.
Which is actually south of Dublin and the altitude.
Obviously, Chris hasn't done any visual angle calculations.
Yeah, this is hilarious. You guys should try this when there's no island between Ireland and Scotland, of which most of the coast is.
And the visual angle on the camera is
And
actually negative 70. This is negative 79
no
degrees.
idea how to use this radar map. No clue. You don't know how to use a regular map. You don't know how to use
It's
a
set to
camera.
31.55 miles from the distance to the lighthouse. And it's
What do you do for a
precisely lined
living, Chris?
So swing a bit to the left and show us what we should be able to see that we don't.
This is Ireland right here to the left.
Right.
No,
where is it?
Where
is it
more
on
to the
that
left?
composite? Where is that
more
on
to the left?
composite?
Hold on a second, guys. Chris, can you just leave, please? You're boring everyone.
Not even getting an
And it would be
opportunity
that
to give his
peak right
presentation
here, which is a
uninterrupted.
national park just south of Dublin.
Oh.
What is Chris? Did
I
you
want to see. I want to see what the lower image shows when
So
we're going
maybe we
more to
also
the
go
left.
to that national park for vacation
Hey,
sometimes.
I mean, if you look where you've placed the Isle of
Oh,
Man
there's
composite on the
1,300
map, it doesn't line up with the topography of Ireland at all. You've placed the Isle of Man on Ireland, right? And it doesn't line up with the Ireland's topography in any way.
So you can actually
None
go
of
to
this topography
go to
lines
these maps and actually look up the altitudes for this
you can
specific
actually
place. There's
see-
actually a radio station at the top of
You
this
can
peak on
actually
the Isle
tell
of Man.
that Ireland has a valley right where the Isle of Man is.
And the altitude of this is where they have the radio station.
Why don't you put your camera in front of the Isle of Man and take a look at what the horizon actually is for Ireland?
Do you know that there's contrast difference when you look at islands that are different distances away?
Why is
and we don't see that in Riley's either, do we?
Why is it that you can't see any Ireland to the left or right? And that's not a concession that you're seeing Ireland in the middle. I'm just saying your horizons don't line up. And any similarities you see are at best coincidental.
This peak right here, actually, when you swing the camera to the right.
Oh, it should be really good.
Exactly 108.2 degrees.
When you see islands
there's nothing there. Oh, there's nothing
there.
there.
The island that's closer,
right there in the back.
Have a contrast difference, and there's no contrast difference here.
No, that's the Isle of Man.
And where it drops off the corner here.
Right.
Please, he sounds like he's had a stroke. We shouldn't be acknowledging him.
And there are these right here in the background.
All right. Well, when you
get
images in real life
top of the Isle of Man
this occurring, let me know.
You'll see that the camera is not lined up whatsoever with the Isle of Man. It's actually off the coast and pointing towards Ireland, and these peaks in the background.
Never happened.
Ireland.
You've misaligned that composite, as we said before. So the alignment of your composite isn't good.
Would you say, Chris, that Ireland is looming in the background?
Oh, man, you guys are hilarious. When we have criticisms of you, you ignore them. But when you have criticisms of us, we address them wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I'll point this out again. So Rumpus yesterday had 20 minutes uninterrupted with 10 globers on the panel. Chris, in total, I think has got 10 seconds of uninterrupted time.
Say, but we gave him 20 minutes, and that's the only point that we have.
I did. New guests, Mr. Grimby and Bad Drivers of Peterborough.
We gave him 20 minutes. We didn't listen to a
Grim deserves a proper intro. At least he has some decent debating talent. How you doing, Grim V? Good to have you here.
Looming happening, with the center point of the observer being roughly approximately here.
The observer being roughly approximately here. Where is here?
This is the
actually being reflected in the mirage portion, which is actually quite limited. There's a line here where the
is this a lighthouse or is it a boat?
Where is here?
This would be where the
it's not a boat.
Refraction limit repeats. Reflects the water above the water at this horizon line.
Chris.
And refraction is
Chris a friggin' recording or something? This guy is not.
I know they just
steamroll
with the
panel.
They don't care if they
being double imaged here. The center, the base of the lighthouse is here.
Chris,
this is actually
Mr. Monk.
5 feet.
Chris, your assumptions are wrong from the get-go. Everything you're saying is increasingly more wrong as time goes on.
It's actually a reflection.
I'm Lewis, and I'm so clever.
There's a mirage and a horizon
Chris,
line.
you get more wrong as time goes on because your
presuppositions are looming in the image, but not a whole lot.
Chris, you're just
certainly not enough to
hear yourself talk.
Bring Ireland up to the so-called elevations.
It's interesting when Rumpus is giving a presentation, people interrupt him to
find a point
that interrupts.
So I'd like to thank everyone for the awesome intellectual conversation and the courtesy. And
this isn't this wasn't a conversation at all.
Intellectual. You mean you thought you were intellectual, Chris, when you were putting those two mismatched?
It's always nice to talk to such intelligent people.
It's always really nice to hear a terrible presentation.
Refraction and how refraction actually works on the plane.
You didn't describe anything about
how refraction does not work on the ball whatsoever.
If we talk like this, then people will think we're smart.
Thank you.
You're just here to disrupting our Christmas.
Thanks for being here, Chris. It was really great having you. Thanks for coming, Chris.
Thanks for coming, Chris.
Yeah, he was so disruptive.
Always a pleasure.
We really don't need that kind of behavior here.
Hey, Lottie. Lottie. What's happening?
Oh, just these bloody flat earthers coming to disrupt the hangout as usual.
The hangout was destroyed, though, when Chris first started talking.
I guess the real point is that if you're seeing Ireland in the distance, the contrast of Ireland would be vastly different than the contrast of the Isle of Man. And we just don't see that in the image. There's no contrast difference between any of the land in the video. and that's indication that it's all the same land.
Yep, not to mention that if you want to use the atmosphere, dirty layer of air, refraction at the horizon level explanation, then you have to. That would lead to a difference in what you see in the land, as it's different distance from you.
So that was a flat
and if you can
earther
see
attempting
Ireland,
to make a
behind
presentation.
the Isle of Man there, then you should be able to see
Pull
more
down
of
because I'm going to make my announcement to the audience. So that was Chris Monk's attempt to make a presentation to a slightly smaller panel than yesterday, and he was prevented entirely by the Globers on the panel, not by anybody else. So I'll make it clear one last time. We had Rumpus on the panel yesterday. He had 20 minutes with an entirely full panel, completely uninterrupted, to make his presentation. Today, Chris, on the fly, has joined the same as Rumpus and absolutely been obliterated by Globe heads who simply don't want him to make his presentation. So for any in the comments who criticise me for having Chris Monk on, if he would be so kind to do it without interruption, I don't want to hear him. I'm not going to hear the interruptions because his presentation was absolutely not heard by anybody.
No swearing. Everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah, also...
I haven't kicked anybody, have I?
This makes it really good. This makes for an extremely...
So is Paul come back in with how hot iron is actually conductive and can actually have a hot iron core in this earth?
Oh, man.
How's that work?
You should be more specific in what you say.
You've got a specific question, Paul. Have you got an answer for how the Earth can have a self-perpetuating magnetic core?
We got a specific question, guys.
See if we get an answer. Maybe the Globies will troll Paul too.
How do self-sustaining dynamos actually work using hot iron when the
that's really cool.
And there
was about 4 or 5 things that
hot iron cores are not conductive.
About your presentation, Chris.
What is going on?
Have you got proof that they're not, Chris? Your assertion, have you got proof that they're not, Chris?
I'm asking you for proof that it is. How was hot iron?
No, you're asserting that they're not.
Conducted by the temperature of 10,000 degrees.
No, Chris, you've made the assertion that they're not. You're the one that's made the assertion that they're not. Prove it.
What does hot iron have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, that's just another Delphi technique. Distractionary pigeon, you mama pigeon.
I mean, we brought up about 15 different things with your presentation, Chris, and you.
Well, we're looking for evidence of the self-sustaining dynamo, how it works when iron is at 10,000.
Oh, wow, that's really interesting. That's really interesting presentation you made.
I'm doing
Bad drivers, you should get behind the wheel of a car.
You just get behind the wheel of a car.
We're gonna eat your baby pigeons now.
We're gonna eat your baby.
So how is that hot iron actually generating electricity and magnetic field?
You're not me. You couldn't be me.
You're not me. You're
dependent on it.
Do you have any evidence for that?
Any explanation for that, Paul?
Oh, now we need some explanation.
Now we need some explanation.
Wow. You don't need explanations.
No, we don't need explanations.
Oh, sorry about that. Did I just mute bad drivers? You got a only troll in here, not even doing anything but mocking everyone. Get out of here, dude.
I wonder what that's about.
Be gone.
Well, he's probably upset that I'm following the rules.
Exactly.
I've just made a new rule. We are now allowed shout-outs. So shout-outs are now allowed again.
Shout out to Mr. Grim V.
Hey, it's Lewis. I'm back.
Yeah, shout out Mr. Grim V. I'd like to shout out Ron Burgundy, Seeds of Doubt.
I don't know what I've done to earn so much respect and love from the flat earthers, but I'm doing something right.
Cat Earth can get a shout out.
Globe believers would rather shout out the audience than hear a presentation that disagrees with their beliefs and dogma. That's basically the situation.
Such a wonderful presentation, Nathan.
He didn't get a chance. He didn't do a presentation. He didn't get a presentation.
Yeah. It was clearly so much better put together than Rumpus's presentations.
We wouldn't know. We didn't get to hear
Nathan,
it.
did the start of my sentence interrupt the middle of it?
You would know, actually. You can do a private hangout if you want to and figure it out.
Thank you for your permission to do so, Lou. So kind.
Oh, yeah, no problem. You don't need my permission, but thanks for asking.
I didn't ask.
No, you did. It was tacit.
You can believe what you like.
Shout out Logan Nine Fingers. That's Logan Nine Fingers. You're shouted out.
See, if you've got islands in the distance, there should be a contrast.
Self-perpetuating iron cores, how do they work, Paul? How does the
Self-perpetuating
iron core generate a self-sustaining dynamo that drives this Earth and makes it spin at 1,040 miles an hour? Do you have evidence for that, Paul? Where's the energy coming from?
Well,
seriously,
Chris, we don't measure spin in miles per hour, Chris. Maybe you should get that right in the first place.
How does a self-sustaining dynamo drive energy to turn into whole dynamos?
Oh yeah.
Is it a self-sustaining dynamo, Paul?
All right,
guys, something hot iron self-sustaining dynamo. How does that work, Paul?
What's that got to do with the shape of the Earth, Chris?
What's that got to do with it?
Sorry,
nothing to do with the shape of the Earth.
How does that prove the Earth flat, Chris?
I've got enough time to interrupt, so I'm just going to turn you down. We've been joined by, I think it's Make4 under a banana account. How you doing, Make4? Good to have you here.
No, he's not. He's a teacher.
For you,
teachers can be physicists, but okay.
But he's a teacher currently. I'm Paul. I'm a physicist.
Oh my god. Hey.
Oh my god.
You guys are this is what you're reduced to.
You out as well. Shout out everybody in chat. Shout out if you're not in chat.
So no evidence for self-sustaining dynamos.
There's no evidence for a flat Earth.
It's got nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, Chris.
Chris, do you have
spinning
any evidence?
Balls must be round, right? So that means it must be a spinning ball if it has a self-sustaining dynamo.
Chris, you got what? What do you think the shape of the Earth is?
It's got nothing to do with the shape of the Earth, Chris.
Loud noises, Chris. Loud noises.
Yep, loud noises. What do you got on
Chris,
the shape of the Earth?
do you like strawberry ice cream? That too. Neither that or what you just said, or
As
proof of
good as the questions Rumpus got, I would say, or maybe not.
I'd like to shout out Vinegar Strokes, already drunk at 1 p.m.
I'm actually trying to figure out how to prove that it would be a globe.
Well, I mean, that's not what you're trying. Oh, you're trying to prove how to be a ball? Well, you'd look at the horizon and make some simple deductions about what shapes create horizons.
So a ball would need a hot iron core, right, in order to generate the momentum in order to make it
spin, correct?
The core. So it has to be a hot iron core, right?
You don't need the core.
With the magnetic field, right? The hot iron core
is a different question.
Hot iron core must generate electricity in order to have a magnetic field. So how does this hot iron core generate electricity, Paul?
Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris.
Iron core generate electricity.
I would like to address
you need electricity to have a magnetic field first, Paul. How does it generate electricity, Paul? It's a hot iron core. It's far above its purity temperature, Paul.
We're talking about the
electricity doesn't make the Earth flat.
Resistance increases with temperature, Paul. How does it even conduct a current, Paul? Resistance increases with temperature, Paul. Resistance increases with temperature, Paul.
No,
how does it conduct a current?
And with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in, sharing, and for hitting that super chat. And of course, a massive thank you also to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.